with Arnold Dean. Hot talk, great guests. Weeknights at 6:15 from WTIC, Hartford.
BBC Radio, Canada's public broadcast.
Try Carter's Little Liver Pill. Good advice.
Good mornings only on KCMO Kansas City. It's 8 o'clock.
When you're tuned to CDS Radio.
This is the DX Central from the Static Podcast.
From Studio B of the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana.
Welcome, my friends, to the From the Static Podcast. Another episode and our final one of DX Central Relive, at least for this season, for season 6, episode number 30, our season finale. And what a big one we have for you, my friends. I'm your host, Lloyd Van Horn, here in Studio A, and we are all abuzz here because there's three big things happening here at Studio A. Number one, we are now releasing, we just launched SEDAP, our FMDX data extravaganza at fmdxdata.com. It is our Sporadic E data analysis project, and it is completely revamped from what we've done in the past. And we are unleashing some new features onto the community that have never been done before. Never has Sporadic E been looked at the way that we're looking at it now. So we talk through that in depth. We talk about the project, the dashboard, what's there, the E Cloud Tracker, where you can actually watch the clouds move. It's pretty cool, actually. And we are launching our 2026 Summer of DX Challenge. Now, this was a little different. We're doing it differently this year than we've ever done it before. We're doing FM and AM, as we did before, but we're also adding NOAA Weather Radio this year. We're doing the Grid Challenge again, but we're also doing counties. We're doing a whole new user interface. You can do bulk imports of logs. We're not messing around here. All right, this is a big one. We're doing bounty hunts. Yeah, so a lot to talk about in this episode as we do, and we have a bunch of shout-outs we'll be getting into, season-ending shout-outs, especially towards the end of the show. So make sure you stick around for those season-ending shout-outs that we'll get in. So it's a long one, but I promise you it's worth it. It's our season finale of episode number 30 of season 6 of DX Central Live and DX Central Relive, and our final episode of the season before we head into FM season. The other thing that we have going on here, the buzz that you're probably wondering about here at Studio A, is we're about to take this thing completely down. Not to the studs, but we're about to take it down to the bare walls and get everything out of here and do a revamp of Studio A. Reorganize things, redo some wiring, clean things up a bit, add a couple little things here and there, a couple little tweaks that we want to do. It's our every other year we do this. So bunch of energy about to be focused in on that, which can't wait. All right, sit back and relax, my friends. We're bringing us with you wherever you may be. It's time for season 6, episode 30 of DX Central Relive, and our audio-only version of our Friday night live stream for the final time this season. Don't worry, we'll be back in the fall. We bring you DX Central Live here on the From the Static Podcast.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
And so, we reach the finale of Season 6 of DX Central Live. It has been a journey of technical discovery, atmospheric wonder, and... Gary, I am recording the thing for the finale. Can't the furniture moving and deep clean wait for 30 seconds? What do you mean the dumpster is already full? As we begin our 30th and final episode of the season, we look toward the horizon of the summer of DX. To our patrons, sponsors, and our amazing audience, thank you for being the signal that came in well above the noise. You mean the world... Damn, was that the NOAA J-pole antenna? Brad, if you bend a single element on the high-gain Yagi, forget the wrath of Lloyd. I am personally deducting it from your snack budget. Yeah, that's what I thought. clumsy. Absolutely clumsy. For Season 6 of DX Central Live, class will soon be officially dismissed. You know what? That's a wrap. I'm leaving now. All I have to do is pack my headphones and my favorite mug. I've already hidden the Margarita Thursday blender where Gary will never find it. If you need me, I'll be on a beach with no reception, listening to the sound of the actual ocean instead of trying to simulate one in a seashell. Lloyd, please tell me we're actually hiring a professional crew for the rewiring this time. I think they're gone. Yep, the interns are halfway to the parking lot, and Lloyd is about to flip the camera on in Studio A. That hits the spot. Season 6 is complete. I think I'll stay here for a moment, in the silence. Perfectly tuned. Cheers, my friends, and best of DX.
In the glow of the screen, it's a Friday night. Lloyd in the North Shore, setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies rise. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world,
this is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From the North Shore Studios, here in Mandeville, Louisiana, one final time this season. I know I got a shadow on me here. We got stuff moving around here in the studio. Lights are moving and everything else. So we're going to try to stay out of the shadow here. For one last time here in Studio A for Season 6, Episode 30, DX Central Live here in the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana. We have got ourselves a heck of an episode going on tonight. I mean, we're talking 9 years? 9 years of Sporadic FM data. We're talking our third season of the Summer of DX Challenge, and this year we're taking it up. I told you guys a couple weeks back, I told you we're cranking it up. Right? We're taking the basic thing we've been doing here. We started with AMDX in Season 1, just to prove that AMDX is not terrible in the summertime, and it's not, right? So we started with that. Let me see if I can move this down a little bit, see if that helps get a little light over here. There we go. So we started with AMDX, and then last year we added FMDX. We added the Grid Challenge and FMDX into the Summer DX Challenge. This year we're going all out. We did a completely custom-built app. Whole new UI. Whole new logging protocol, logging process. New dashboard built into the app. No longer is it like, here's the UI for entering stuff, and then here's the dashboard. Like a whole new dashboard that you've never seen before. And this is going to be pretty amazing. You're actually going to be able to now upload bulk imports of DX logs for the Summer of DX Challenge. Did you not, David? Okay, I got to fix that. I'm going to get to that here in a bit for you. So you're actually going to be able to bulk upload. So you'll be able to do one at a time if you're doing like live DX, and you'll be able to click on something and that brings up all the station information and you can log it, just like we did in the FM Bandscan Challenge. That interface style is here. But you'll also be able to do bulk uploads from FM list, medium wave list, and from WLogger. So if you're exporting out your logs from WLogger, medium wave list, FM list, you're going to be able to do that and then import that into the DX Challenge, the Summer DX Challenge. I wanted to make this easy, and I wanted to encourage everybody to participate. And I know sometimes one at a time logging, manual entry, typing in stuff kind of sucks. I get it. I could never figure out how to make it work until now. So we're going to get you there. We're also adding in NOAA Weather Radio this year. There's been a lot of folks who are getting interested into DXing NOAA Weather Radio station. So this year, we're adding that in to the Summer of DX Challenge. Then going back to the dashboard here, let me actually show you. We got the countdown. Here's this. This is the SEDAP. This is the Sporadic E Data Analysis Project that we have. The new dashboard coming here for Sporadic E Season Analysis stuff. And it is, guys, this thing is amazing. We have a E Cloud Tracker / simulator now. There's a path analysis built into here. You'll actually be able to sit there and choose like a day or a range of days, like a couple of days or whatever you want to do. And you'll actually be able to watch the sporadic E clouds morph, like a representation, approximation of the clouds, morph and move over the course of the day. It's pretty freaking awesome. And then we've got our Summer of DX Challenge as well. There's a countdown for that one coming up here later on in the hour. So we'll be launching both of these tonight. And while we're talking about Weather DX, we're also going to be doing a primer on Weather DX, because there's a lot of tools, a lot of resources that you can take advantage of to help you with a Weather DX. We've got some built into the Summer DX Challenge, but there's other ones as well. Our friend Kyle, DX Sphere up in the Pacific Northwest, he just put one together that is unbelievable. It's amazing. So we're going to take a look at some of those resources. Our friend Les Rayburn has a link tree list where you can see a bunch of different sources for antennas and things like that. We're going to talk about things like the NOAA Weather Radio over here, or using your SDR. So we're going to talk about NOAA Weather Radio DX. Carl just asked about the rubber duck. This is the one you're talking about here. This is the rubber duck cut for 162. This is the Smiley antennas, SMILEY. And this is our little weather radio here, a little Midland weather radio that we'll be talking about later on. There we go. So we've got so much to get to tonight. Of course, we got your shout outs as well. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. What we're doing tonight is a little bit different. We're doing our season recap shout out. So not just what you heard in the last week. Let's talk about your year. Okay, let's talk about the year that you've had since basically September, since the fall. We'll talk about everything that you've been hearing, your new countries, your new states, your new stations, your big catches, your new gear that you've gotten, new skills that you've learned, whatever it might be. We want to pull that in. We're going to also talk about this guy here. This is our website, for DX Radio. This is probably dxradio.com. You can see there's a new interface here. So we're going to talk about this as well, and why we're going to be talking about that in relation, how it links up with the Summer of DX, because it is a tie-in that we're doing. So much to get to tonight. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's do some live DX. Now, I've got most of the antennas unplugged because we've had storms here the last couple of days, and they're not done. In fact, if I pull up our Radar Omega here, you'll see here we've got quite a few storms kind of in the area. A lot of rain. Good Lord knows we need it. A little more stuff off the coast down here. But we do have some heavy stuff moving in, some more stuff up a little bit to our north. So not what you guys have been getting up in the Midwest, for sure. You guys are definitely getting much more than we are here, but and have been. But we still have to unplug some of the antennas. So we do have some of them plugged in, so we can at least do a little bit of DX here tonight. So one of them we're going to start here with is probably our last AM, maybe our last AM DX, live DX session of the season. Here coming up in the next hour. It's a little early to do it right now because, quite frankly, the band is not open yet. But we do, so we'll probably be doing that next hour. And then we also have our FM antennas put in place right now. So let's start with that. Let's start with a little live FM DX from our friends at the Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com. Let's pull up here our ELAD FDM-S3. We've got SDR console here. This is tied to our log periodic antenna sitting up at 33 feet up in the air. You've got RDS Spy over here. I like to keep both of them running. We'll talk about that tonight, I'm sure, a little bit. And let's just take a look. I'm not expecting much. The Tropo we had earlier this week is gone. We're now sitting at like 50, 60 degrees here in Mandeville. It's cooled off considerably because of this cold front. So that's killed the Tropo. But we can at least double check and double make sure that we're not missing anything here coming in, because we did have some meteor scatter hits earlier today and things like that. So let's just start kind of the top of the band. We'll work our way down like we like to do a lot of times. Here at 107.9, this will be probably kicker, I'm assuming. There you go. We'll turn the volume down so we don't get the copyright hits.
DX Central Live, top of the hour alert.
All right, we are sitting here looking at the FM radio band here in Southeast Louisiana, Mandeville area. Let's just take a look now. Again, probably not going to be a whole lot here. The Tropo that we had earlier in the week is pretty much gone. We had a little bit in the southwest Texas, southern Texas, not southwest, but down in southern Texas, down in New Mexico even a little bit. But that's pretty much dried up now as the Tropo has cleared out with the cold air now in place. So stabilize the atmosphere at all layers. You've got cold air aloft. You've got cold air at the surface. So it's killed the Tropo. But maybe we could hope for a little frontal Tropo here, something along the front line itself. 107.1. Let me pull up my FM list here. And we'll double check. So we have two stations duking it out here. The country station is Cajun. That is WHMD in Hammond, Louisiana. Now, the other station, I'm not sure who that is. So we got Hammond there. That's the 685F that's popped up. Showed 33C8 K-Love. I don't think that's K-Love. With Cardi B. That's interesting. Hey, Mamacita. Hola, hola. Let's take a look here. Let me turn this down a little bit more. Maybe that is K-Love. Maybe that is. I kind of doubt it. So we got two stations in here. We have, like I said, this Cajun here on 107.1. That's Hammond, Louisiana. We have a completely different one that RDS Spy picked up on. That showed K-Love.
Complete, and we've got the Bangers Hour coming up, so don't forget, hey, the number one song tonight in the Bangers Countdown is going to be number one through the weekend, and you get to determine that song. What's going to be in the top spot? Well, find out coming up in just a bit. DJ Digital giving you the option to pass or play. All right, here's the way that works. We got three new artists. Who gets heard? Who gets skipped? Check it out. Swipe over and you can check out who we have up for grabs in the moment. Right now, we're looking at Damon Free. We're looking at Bryzo. We're looking at Salome. These artists, you actually get, it's not a competition, man. This is all about putting new artists and new music on your radar. But you can pick and choose. Check it out right now. Pass or play. If you say pass, the artist, gets seen. You can actually tag the artist. Check it out right now. Tell us what you think in the comments right now. They got a lot of people.
Nope, don't do it. Ah, crud.
So check it out right now. Pass or play.
Of course it does. Right about the time that you're thinking, here comes an ID. The other station takes over. And so now Hammond's taking over.
better than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
There could be a couple different stations here that this could be. So I honestly don't know. I know who I hope it is.
That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Yeah, it does. It happens on A. It's the DXer's lament. I'm gonna try searching. No, maybe it was B. No, I'm just trying to see if I can find who that other code was.
Win the JTV Mother's Day getaway at jtv.com/sweepstakes. You can win a 6-night cruise to Grand Cayman, Mexico, and the Bahamas, plus $1,000 spending money and a $1,000 gift card to shop JTV.
Cajun 107.
Local JTV Mother's Day getaway now at jtv.com/sweepstakes. And new customers receive a one-time $25 off of a purchase of $50 or more.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Region Black Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, I know who this is then. I know exactly who this is.
Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK.
There you go.
Listen in on
That's him.
to business and be a part of the movement that's going on.
That's the new translator.
It's your boy DJ PJ. Bring you the vibe. What's poppin' with PJ?
That's the new translator.
Each and every Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. on WBO 107.1 FM. Your unique soundtrack starts right here. What's poppin' with PJ?
I haven't logged that one yet. I actually haven't heard them, but I know they're a new translator that we have here in the area.
We hear all the time that people who are looking to send to online.
That's K296HM out of Gretna, Louisiana, to my south, over on the West Bank, where I used to live. That's where I grew up. They're doing a relay of WBOK, which means if I was to go over here right now and pull up WBOK 1230.
And pursue politics, but at the end of the day,
they're not doing a direct relay. Interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, well, there you go. So we have a new one in the log that we didn't have before, and it's a local, because normally we can't get them because of Hammond taking over, but we have just enough little tropo scatter, rain scatter maybe coming in right now to bring in that station and cause a little bit of a disturbance to weaken Hammond just enough to allow that station in Gretna to come in that normally would not be coming in. They're 175 watts from the West Bank. It's about 30 miles away from here. And Hammond is about 13. So it definitely, and Hammond is a 6 kilowatt station. So you can see, normally, Hammond would be the dominant here. However, this is where you look at not the mileage, because I get a lot of people that ask me, Tropo is like, what, 200 miles or more, 150 miles or more? It doesn't matter the mileage. I'm logging that Gretna station as Tropo because that is not a station I normally get at 30 miles away. I normally get to 13 mile away, dominant 13 miles away. It's usually dominating that frequency. But we have just enough rain scatter, tropo scatter, whatever it might be in right now that's weakening that station just enough so that Gretna can come in, and it's tropo conditions that are causing that. So it doesn't matter the mileage. It doesn't matter how far away it is for. It's not like it's like, okay, anything of this or more is tropo, anything this or less is local. No. You can have a station that's really, really close to you, but it's not until you get tropo conditions that you actually get that station. So it's tropo that brought it to you, right? So that's a little something. I'm glad that actually happened because that's a point that I try to make. And I never usually, it's hard to get an example of that, but that's a perfect example one of those where it's, 30 miles, you think, well, that's a local. It's not. If it's not local to you, if you don't normally hear it. Now, if I was down on South Shore, it probably would be local because I'd be further from Hammond and closer to Gretna. So if I was down on the South Shore, down in the city, yeah, it'd probably be a local. But up here, it's not. It's not. Hammond is the local. So one of those cool little things about FM that we have to kind of deal with sometimes, where you get some of those stations that you're like, why haven't I heard this station? They're so close. And there you go. That's why. All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, man, we are in it. All right. We are going to launch into our very first time taking a look at SEDAP. There it is, guys. SEDAP, the new Sporadic E data analysis project. We're going to dive into this. We're going to show you all the different stuff you can do at SEDAP here. So don't go anywhere. We're just getting started, I promise you, here on DX Central Live and our season finale for season number 6.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central. From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Lost in frequency, simpler times for me
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in beautiful, rainy, soggy, damp, wet Mandeville, Louisiana. We're here in Studio A. And I'll tell you what, just looking around here, we've got some work ahead of us this weekend. Everything must go. Everything's coming out of the studio. We're doing a deep clean. The curtains come off the windows to get washed. Everything's getting cleaned. We're putting some more lighting to kind of flush out some of the lighting that we have in here. And some new key lights for our stream so we can not have shadows and things like that. So going to reorient the monitors a little bit, move them around. Fun stuff. So we'll be doing that and some more wire management. And that's the big thing. I mean, it's cleaning and it's the wire management because a lot of the feed lines and, which antenna is going to which SDR and all that. That's all over the span of 2 years. You tend to make changes. And so you have to move stuff around. So now some of the stuff that's connected to certain things aren't what they should be. And so it's just easier in these situations just to take everything out. Believe it or not, it's easier to take everything out, do a deep clean, which we need to do anyway, and then rewire up all the feed lines and everything just to make sure we have everything exactly where it's supposed to go, taking advantage of all of our setup stuff and making it as much as we can, making it easier to make adjustments on the fly as you tend to do, as you're getting a new SDR, right? New TEF radios, things like that. I've got a TEF over here ready to go for another FM web server. Can't put that in until we do this work because we have things tied up that shouldn't be. And so, yeah, big bunch of work this weekend, and then be ready for the FM season. Speaking of FM season, you guys ready for this? So this next thing you're about to look at here is our Sporadic E data analysis project, SEDAP. Now, to be fair, we've had one up for a while. This is version 1 that we put out last year with all the data through 2024. And I took a bunch of pivot tables and charts and maps and counters and things like that on a Google Sheet. And I typed up some analysis to go around them. And we looked at the data, and it's just this, it's on a Google site, so it's all static. It's just there, right? And some of you guys who were around last year probably remember me diving into these heat maps every day of okay, here's what to expect. Don't expect much right now, but you can look at it right here. There's not a whole lot here. May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. May the 4th has never had, in our data set, there's never been any logs on May the 4th. You can see, though, all the days here, pretty light right now. And then we get into some of the maps and things like that down here. Some frequency analysis, time analysis, stuff like that. So this was version 1. Version 2, I wanted to go completely different. I wanted to make this interactive. I wanted to make it as visual as possible. And I wanted to make this interactive. So it wasn't just there's the data. I wanted you to be able to click on the data and get more data. Because I wanted to put more data in there, but I didn't want to make it cluttered, and then it got really difficult to read, and everything got small. And I've gone through 4 different versions of this that I was working on over the span of the last couple of months. And then finally I decided, you know what, we're just going to code our own app. And so I don't know a thing about coding, so I had to lean on an AI assistant, Google Gemini, to do that. And so basically, okay, here's the vision, here's the idea, here's what I want it to look like, here's how I want it to function. You make the code, try out the code. Nope, let's tweak that. Don't like that. Let's change that. Things like that. So a lot of back and forth. There were times where the AI would actually erase stuff that we'd already got working, and we had to go back in and redo it all over again. That's when I learned about modules and breaking up code into little different segments so you don't break this by changing this. So this is our Sporadic E data analysis project dashboard. So you'll see in here some of the data sources, attribution, what we're using here. To put everything together, the usage policy. So this is free to the hobby. I want this. I'm never going to charge money for this. This is free to the hobby. I want this to be for the betterment of all of our understanding of Sporadic E. So it always will be there. So my only ask is that if you are putting out, any information about the data that you're seeing here, give us credit. fmdxdata.com. That is the website here. Let me put that in the chat. fmdxdata.com. That's the link to come to this. Now it'll redirect. That's fine. That's the stream. That's going to be fixed soon. I'm about to actually migrate this entire thing to a new platform with a different thing, so it'll actually just be fmdxdata.com. So let's take a look here and start diving in. So the first thing you'll notice here is when you start looking at the dashboard overview. So this should look familiar to a lot of you who have done our frequency challenges before. You'll have your counters, how many total logs, over 96,000, almost 97,000 total logs. Again, this is for North American DXers submitting logs to FM List, okay, from 2017 through end of last year. 2025. And just for Sporadic E. That's what we're looking at here with this data set. 12,000 unique stations, 247 unique DXers during this time, 49 states heard, 12 Canadian provinces, 31 Mexican states, 38 countries, and almost a 3,000-mile furthest reception. We have these global filters up here at the top that you can use to filter any of the data that you see down here based off of, if you want to look at just your stuff and just filter by your name, your state, things along those lines, the year. If you want to look at certain years, certain months, you can filter all of this data here on any page that you see. You'll be able to filter by these global 13 filters that are up here at the top of the page. And down here, you'll see this is kind of is the table. So if I was to go over here and say, I just want to see stuff for Lloyd Van Horn, DX Central Mandeville, there's my 1,770 logs, 1,042 unique stations, 1 DXer, me, 34 states, 3 Canadian provinces, 17 Mexican states, and 7 countries heard. And then there's all of the logs that I've submitted, right? 1,424 miles is my furthest catch. There you go. Reset all the filters, and now I'm back to the full data set. So this is the dashboard overview. This gives you all of the data here. It's like just from a very high level. Now let's get to the crown jewel. This is the part that everyone's been looking forward to. This is something that I have wanted to do. I've been working on trying to make this happen now for about 4 years. This is our Sporadic Es Cloud Tracker. What we've done is we've actually taken every single DXer that has submitted a log, and we have a rough estimate lat long. It may not be precisely down to your exact house because we don't have that, but we've got a pretty good estimate lat long for your location. And we have a very, very, very accurate lat long for the station that was received. So we have that DXer lat long, we have the station lat long, we have a path now. If you calculate, generally speaking, sporadic e-clouds, generally speaking, the approximate location of the cloud would be about halfway between them. So if you calculate the midpoint of that path, then you have a midpoint lat, you have a midpoint long, and then now for every log, you should have a midpoint lat, a midpoint long. So that data then was fed in to our data engine that we have, our Data Forge engine that we put together. And then that produced this map that shows you the approximate location of the eCloud. Now, this right now is the approximate location of all the eClouds in the entire data set. So this shows you where the eClouds generally are. Okay? So the highest concentration of eClouds is over here, and then all of the East Coast, basically. But here's where it gets really, really cool. You can go over here. You can do this for a date range if you want to, but if I'm just going to unselect that date range, and we're going to look at a specific day. Let's look at July 4th of last year, because that was a mega crazy big day. Now, this right now that you're looking at, this is all the stuff you see here in red, all of those were a cloud location, right? The stuff in white is the highest density. So anything that's colored in here, other than the map gray in the background, anything you see a red on or brighter is a cloud location for that day. There was a midpoint over that location. But if we come over here now and I say, you know what, I want to look at this. Let's do a 3x speed and let's hit play. Watch this. You can actually sit here and watch these sporadic e-clouds develop, morph, twist, mangle, get bigger, get smaller, move. We're watching this e-cloud from July 4th right here, and you can keep an eye on the timestamp up here. This is now up to there's now 11 o'clock, and that's local to the DXer. So this is 11 o'clock local time for the DXer. Okay, I didn't want to play the whole game of UTC, what that means for you versus me versus this person, and how sometimes you have the UTC date and time splitting over 2 different days. No. It's all local time and local date to the DXer. Okay, so this is July 4th to the DXer. Now we're up around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can watch this cloud a little smaller, and now it continues to morph and move. We're going to see one come over here on the west here in a bit. You can also notice here, and this is why I didn't get a whole lot of DX this day. Most of these clouds, the location of the clouds is pretty high up to the north, which is great because we had a lot of this path, which we'll look at here in a second, that was a kind of east-west across this way. A lot of DXers from the northeast that we're seeing out west. And now here's the one over here out to the west that's starting to formulate, giving folks some paths out that way. Okay? How does it handle multi-hop ease? We took that into account. And we basically calculated what the average distance was. And so if the average distance was over the average distance of a single hop, it calculates 2 midpoints out. Right? So we factored that in. So anything that's multi-hop, it's factoring in if there is a second cloud out there, and it's going to show up on the map. It's not going to be very pronounced because there's not going to be a lot of people in on that second one, maybe, but it would be on the map. Okay. So that is the eCloud Tracker. I'm going to do another day here. This was that was July 4th. Let's do May 31st of 2023. This was a big day for me. I had a lot of activity on this day. It's going to start here in the Southwest, and then boom, you're going to see it really start to develop out here out east. And again, you can control the playback speed. You can get very, very granular if you want to see it in more slow motion. And this one is at 3x. You can watch the timestamps. So you can actually sit there and track it as it goes. But this gives you all of the midpoints where that location of the cloud approximately should be. But it shows you the construction of the cloud. It's showing you the shape of the cloud and the amount of coverage that cloud is taking. And the density to some extent as well, because we have this big clump right here, and then you have a little bit over here, a little bit over here. So you can actually kind of see kind of the density of the cloud, right? So it's not even just it's not even, I know my computer just froze, didn't it? Yeah. So what I was basically saying here is not only can you see kind of the single area here as you're looking at the cloud, you're looking at it morph and shape. You're looking at the shape of the cloud, but you're also kind of looking at the density. So the really thick, dense parts of the cloud is going to be right here in the part where there's white, but all of this kind of off to the side that's around it is also part of that cloud as well. So those are the parts where you might be getting a little short skip, kind of a little angular, a little high angle short skip coming in off the side. Or maybe you get some different angles that you weren't getting off the main part of the cloud. You can see all of that here. It's remarkable. Okay. We have so much more to get to. Then we look at the path analysis. So this is a little bit more like the traditional kind of path line analysis you might see on like FM lists or some of those, but we did have a time lapse ability on this one as well. So you can also do this where you sit and watch the paths actually propagate throughout the day. You can do that here as well. I'm going to stop this one here, but you can see that's that May 31st one. You can see where a lot of the paths were. Even this looks familiar to like DX maps, right? So this is something a little more along the lines of what you guys are probably used to seeing. But I wanted to include this. Here's July 4th. That was last year. Look at that. That's crazy. That's a lot. And you can see how it's kind of a little further up north in my location down here. We got in some of it, but not a whole lot. So this is the crown jewel. Especially this heat map, this tracker heat map that shows you the actual clouds themselves. And you can zoom in a little bit. And as you'll see here, as you zoom in, you're getting more granular with that cloud shape and things like that. So I usually kind of keep it out a little bit wider out. But yeah, this shows you the progression. This shows you the cloud moving, morphing, twisting, and everything else. All right, so that's the eCloud Tracker. That's the big one that a lot of folks have been waiting on. You can also filter this by your name. So if you want to see just your part of the opening, you can do that. You can do a range. So if you want to go, I've already done it. It's pretty cool. If you want to go look at the week of July 8th through the 14th of 2021 and see all the stuff that happened there, I did it. You can do it. It's cool. It's really, really cool. And you'll actually sit there and watch it. It starts with the first day in that sequence and then goes to the second day all the way through, and then the third day in that sequence and all the way through. So it's pretty cool. Now we have our geographic analysis suite. And this is where we can start really diving into the data in a whole new way that we've never done before. So for instance, here you'll see we're used to these, they're called choropleth maps, where you can see kind of the density of logs based off of Texas is very high density of logs. A lot of stations logged out of Texas. And if you hover, you'll actually see the number. But there's a lot more going on here in these individual states that I want you guys to know about. So click on them. Click on the state, and it's going to give you this flyout to the side over here. And it'll tell you how many total logs were in that data set, what's the most heard station from that state, frequency, city, how many logs, what's the peak month of the year, what was the highest peak month of the year. I'm not sure that 93, that's the number of logs. The peak month of the year for Minnesota is July with 1,993 logs. The peak year was 2021 with 1,081 logs. That was the best year, right? The season window for stations from this region to be reported, you'll start seeing Minnesota stations on average around May 19th start to be reported. The peak is usually around June 28th, with the last logs usually coming in around August 12th. For DXers from that state, the window usually starts around May 22nd, with the peak around June 30th, and then usually the last log somewhere around July 29th on average. That doesn't mean you're not going to see anything before or after those dates, but that's kind of the average, right? The furthest reception for a station from Minnesota was 1,998 miles from our friend Larry Horlick. You're going to see his name a lot on those furthest receptions from Cully's Point in Newfoundland. And it tells you the date and time and that was received, what station it was, what frequency they are. How many unique DXers are in that state? What are the top paths for people in Minnesota to hear? So people in Minnesota hear Texas, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia the most. People from different states hearing Minnesota, Nevada hears them the most. North Carolina, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Louisiana. The top 5 stations are here, and you'll see the log frequency, how many of those are heard, right? Pretty freaking cool, right? You can actually sit here and get granular data about logs from that state. You can do North Carolina, you can do whatever, right? You can just sit here and see. Obviously, the only ones missing would be Alaska and Hawaii because we have no data from Alaska and Hawaii logs in our data set. Let me go back up here now. You want to see counties. How cool is this? We now have county data. So you can see what's counties do not have, the ones that are in black here don't have a station in them that has been logged. The ones that are lit up, they do have stations that have been logged in that county. So you can click on them and go down here to Miami-Dade. That's our hot spot on the map. You can actually see then here what kind of where it is in relation to the state. You can see, again, the same kind of data. Number of logs, peak seasonality, seasonal stuff, furthest reception, how many DXers are in that location, what they're usually hearing, what folks are usually hearing down into that particular area, and the top 5 stations. So you're actually looking at county log data as well now. You can get to that granular level. You can also look at Canadian provinces the same way. I can look at Ontario and see the exact same data about Ontario. And I can also do the same thing from an international perspective. I can go over here and I can say, all right, show me stats about Mexico. Here's all the Mexico stats. So you can start to use this to help you get an idea of what other people are hearing to help you with targeting stations or getting an idea of what to expect. Or let's say, let me go back over here to U.S. states. Let's say I'm a DXer in Minnesota. This is going to help me get an idea of what kind of paths I can expect are going to be common for me. So if I'm in Minnesota, I would expect to hear a lot of Texas, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And transversely, people from these areas are going to hear my stations a lot. Nevada, North Carolina, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Louisiana. Where there's an overlap on those are the best paths, the top paths, right? Where you have the same state in both of those, that's going to be the top path, right? We also have distance stats, so you can get an idea of distance. And then you can also click on these and get the same kind of data for these distance. So we call long haul, 1,201 to 1,600 miles. How many total logs? What's the likelihood? So the percentage of DXers who have had a long haul DX is about 77% of DXers have reported a long haul 1,200 to 1,600 mile catch. Here's the top people who are doing it. Here's the origin hotspots, what areas are, like what states are being heard on those long paths. And then what are the top 5 stations that are being heard on those long paths. Look at your possible double hop. Let's go over here. 14.2% of DXers have reported a possible double hop of 1,600 or more miles. Here's the top people doing it. Here's your origin hotspots, where are the people at that are doing it, and then your top 5 stations. So you can get very granular data on, like, distance-wise, what to expect. We're not done. Let's look at temporal trends. This is your timing, okay? So we have this is your hour timeline, and you can use these little sliders over here to kind of zoom in or zoom out. Let me zoom out here. There we go. You've always heard about the double dip, the E double dip. Well, there it is. You can see it, visually see it. And just like all the rest of our data, if you click on an hour, there's your flyout with data about that particular hour of the day. Again, that's local to the DXer. So when we say 11 o'clock, that could be 11 o'clock my time, your time, out west. It's 11 o'clock, right? Regardless of where we're talking about, it's 11 o'clock local to the DXer. So you'll see here, what does 11 o'clock do? Well, here are the top paths that are active at 11 o'clock. Here's the furthest reception at 11 o'clock in the 11 o'clock hour. Here's the person who has the most logs during the 11 o'clock hour. Here's the most active station state being received. It's Florida. You'll see some of these that kind of pop up a lot. How many logs have been reported at 11 o'clock? What's the best month of the year for 11 o'clock? The best year for 11 o'clock, right? So you'll see all these stats. We're not done. Let's look at the monthly almanac. This is our heat maps that we looked at before, right? So you can look at up here, you have your little pills up here you can click on to see your monthly heat maps to look on each day of the month and get an idea of the production that that day of the month has had over the past. Look how barren May is early on. And it gets more and more filled in as we go down. So you can get an idea of what to expect for each, like which days of the month have produced. And here's all your years in columns. How many active years on that particular day? So it's May 1st right now. 2 days, 2024 and 2023, had some logs on May 1st. None of the rest of them did. So no logs on May 1st doesn't mean a hill of beans. Then you come down here. You'll see kind of the sweet spot, the density matrix as far as year and month. Where was the kind of the density? So 2022 had a lot of activity there. The percentage of the month where it was actually producing some E. Your seasonal flow. This looks at the countries because there's a trend that I've noticed where the earlier and later months produce these kind of like nice southern paths. Especially the early, it's mostly southern paths. Later in the year, we have a little bit of southern and northern, but the southern paths kind of creep back in August. That held true last year, and it's a data trend that we see. So you can kind of see for each of these countries, and you can click on it, and you can see data about that. So Azores, here's some data about the Azores and when you can kind of expect to see stuff, and the distribution by month, by who's hearing it, peak signal intel, like all this data, right? Like, isn't this crazy? And we're still not done. We've looked at the hour. We looked at the month. Guess what we're going to look at now? Also, you can also select a day over here. I forgot about that. I'm going to select May 16th, 2025. And it's going to give me data about that day. May 16th, 2025. What did it have? Right? So you can select a date here to get an intel report about that day. So I can go over here to, let me go to July and pick July 4th. 2025. There's your details about that day. So if there was an e-opening day that you were like, man, that was a really good day. What were the numbers on that? Here's your total logs. Here's your highest frequency. Here's your number of unique DXers. Here's who had the most logs that day. Here was the most heard state. Here's the top 5 paths and so forth. So you'll get details about that day, what that day was producing. We're still not done. We've done the hour. We've done month. Here's the years. Here's the seasonal analysis. So I can click on a year and I can get details about that year. How many total logs came in? How many unique DXers? What was our efficiency? So this is logs per active DXer. It's kind of a way of normalizing the data to be able to see how good of a year was that. We kind of call it the seasonal quality index. Okay, based off of that logs per DXer. And then we come down here and we have that kind of bearing out. So here is your each year for producing new logs that hadn't been reported before. Okay. So 2021 was a really, really good year at producing logs that no one had ever reported before to FM List. 2022 came down a little bit. 23 came down. 2024, it really bottomed out. Last year we had a big spike back up to 2022 levels. A little bit above, actually, for stations that had never been reported. Now, this is a number that you would expect to see go down over time. But this spike here in 2025 showed we had new paths that were coming in that hadn't been really used or seen before, right? You can see here, again, on a lot of these charts, if you click on them, you'll get flyouts. Some of them you don't. Like this one, you don't. Active E-days per month, unique stations per month. Opening strength, logs per active day, like all of, I mean, just so much of this stuff. Just dive into the data, guys, and you'll see there's so much in here that you can take a look at. Now, that's the temporal stuff. Let's look at frequency. You want to know about how each frequency does? Here is frequency. And we've got a handy little tuner here. I love this. So if I click, I just want to say, I want to see the data on 92.1. So I just type in 92.1, and here's all the data on that frequency. Isn't this freaking awesome? Here is your MUF heat map. So this is basically how good is each day of the month at producing, historically, a high MUF. I mean, it's crazy. And you can do the same thing. You can choose a specific date, and you'll get all that data reviewed. Here is your overall log frequency or log density by frequency, and so you can kind of see it kind of trail off as we go higher. But here's the insanity. Of all the frequencies, what frequency is the highest probability of being the MUF? It's 107.9. It's crazy. DXer intelligence. Now we're taking a look here at information about DXers themselves. So here's your season quality index. This is your average number of logs per data. I'm sorry, logs per DXer. That's your SQI, your season quality index. So you can actually see this is kind of normalizing, right? So it doesn't, I don't care how many DXers you had, you're taking, what's the output that the average DXer is getting in terms of logs. And so you're normalizing the data. You'll see your peaks, 2021, amazing year, 2025, right below it, right? So a lot of logs in there, but there were fewer DXers. Actually, there were more DXers in 2025 overall. So you had a high number of DXers, but you also had a huge number of logs. So if we normalize that, you'll see it's just below 2021 in our data set as far as output. So logs per DXer. Look how bad 2024 was. In every metric you look at, 2024 was just terrible. Here is the number of unique DXers year over year. 2024 it went down. 2025 we went way up. So watching the growth of the number of DXers reporting the FM list. Here is your location map for DXers. So this actually shows you the location of all the different DXers that have reported. And if you click on one of these little markers, here's Mandeville. You'll see there are two different DXers here, me and me. One of those is my web server. One of those is me. And how many logs came from that DXer? It's crazy. You can look at the different regions to say, how do I stack up to people in the Southeast? That was Southwest. You're Southeast. How do I stack up to people in the Southeast? Well, there I am. You can look at the global volume, and you can also look at it regionally broken down, right? Let's see. Again, you can click on any of these here on the map, and it'll tell you if I clear this out. I can go look at like Nick over here. There's Tabernacle. I've got Nick, 4,100 logs. Crazy, right? Crazy. We're still not done. Here's another really cool part. Let's look at our station data. The centerpiece of this one is a map that shows you the location of every single radio station in the WTFDA station database. WTFDA station database, these are all the stations that it has in its database. And you can click on any of these areas, and you'll get a flyout that's going to show you information about whatever stations are in that location. So in this one, Jean Lafitte, Louisiana, there's only one station. It's it's KNOL 107.5. Let me find one here that's got a couple. Let's go to see if I can get in here to New Orleans. Here's New Orleans. So you'll see here there are 7 stations found in this location, New Orleans, Louisiana. There's other ones. It depends on how the city is kind of named in the database. But I can click on this little pull down here, and I can select whatever station I want to. And then I can get details about that station, who's heard it, how many times it's been heard, and so forth. So a ton of data about all these different stations that are coming out of the WTFDA database. So if you want to see how your local stations do at being heard, you can search it in here. You can pull it up, and you can get the data over here that tells you how often it's being heard, by who, and so forth. Scroll down, though. Remember that choropleth map that we looked at here that talked about logging data by state? This is the same thing, but it's WTFDA. So we're taking that station database at WTFDA, and now I'm saying, show me information about the stations that are available to be heard from the state of Texas. So there's 1,573 total stations in the state of Texas. 37.3% of those have been heard. 587 out of those 1,573 have been reported. So this shows you how well we're doing at hearing that state. The top 3 cities that have stations in them, Houston being the biggest, San Antonio, Austin. The top frequencies in that state, the top formats in that state. And then here are the unheard stations. So you can go through here and see the full list of any stations that have not been heard in that state. Pretty cool, huh? So you can now break down detailed information about that particular state. But you can also do this now about counties. So I'm taking the WTFDA station data and I'm running this up against county information. So now everywhere you see that's black doesn't have any stations in it at all. Anywhere that doesn't, that has color in it, has a station in it. So I can click on any station that has, it's colored in, like Orleans Parish, Louisiana, and I can now find all the stations that are located in Orleans Parish, Louisiana. Now, there's going to be some where it's a little wonky because of different lines and things like that based on some of the data that's coming over on the lat long, but pretty much this is pretty close. It's like 99.9% of the way there. And we're running up on getting the summer DX. We haven't done that yet. Just like before, though, with the states, you have the same kind of data here for counties. So if you want to be a county hunter, and here's all the stations that haven't been heard in those counties. So there you go. And as a matter of fact, down here, if I look at this, I think I have it down here, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. I thought I had a thing down here for stations that hadn't been heard. I'll look at that again. Anyway. So you have station. Here's station intelligence. This gives you information about formats. So you can see what are the most common formats, what are the most common slogans, and where do those match up? So how many KISS FMs are there out there, and are they country stations? Are they AC stations? HUD AC stations? Well, we know K-Love is going to be contemporary Christian, but there are 2 other that are just marked as religious stations. As you can see where those line up. And yes, you can click on any slogan, like K-Love here, and get details. Should load up here. Here you go. You get details about K-Love. Where are they at? How many of them are there? What's the top formats that run K-Love, or they're running on K-Love stations and so forth. And then you also have RDS intelligence. So this RDS intelligence is showing you the proportion of stations that are out there in the WTFDA station database. I have a PI code. So you can get a very clear idea about what states are producing stations that have an RDS code that you can decode. Crazy, man. Some of these, especially if you guys are all in here at the same time, it'll be a little slow sometimes, but it should be pretty quick. And then we have logged RDS data. So this is taking that same RDS data and it's talking about now based off of actual logging. So we have RDS intelligence from the WTFDA station database. We have station intelligence from the WTFDA station database about formats, slogans, and things like that. We have the state intelligence breaking this down by state. So you can see from the different U.S. states data about the stations that are available in that state or that county based on the county intelligence one here. And this is just off of location, city, state. That is SEDAP. We're already working on, this is version 2. We're already working on version 3 right now. We're going to be expanding this to additional data sources for FM data, to additional timeframes of FM data, to additional bands beyond just FM. And then we're also working on getting our hands on some scientific data to overlay on top of all this logging data to see where there are correlations. What's the plan for adding new data? This will not be real time. So right now, what you see, this is the data for 2025, or through 2025, right? 2026 data, I will not be adding that right away. It'll be after the season is over because, and here's why, because if I go in and add, let's say there's a big eSkip opening today, and tomorrow I go add all that data in from today, people aren't done with their recording review. I'm still reviewing August 13th data right now. So there are going to be people who are still adding in data during the season as the season goes along. So I want to give plenty of time for that season data to get baked in before I start pulling data in from the new season. Okay. So you're not going to see 2026 data in here yet. Here's the thing I might do. I do run a current season data set that I do for my current analysis to kind of measure up to see how it looks against current previous years. I might try to pull that in somehow here, but I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, all the stuff you're seeing right now is going to be based off of currently through 2025. We'll add in 2026 as a full data set later on. Okay. All right. There you go. Will other countries be added beyond just North America? Here's the thing. As an example, last year, there was an opening that occurred in Europe where they had over 20,000 logs from Europe in one day. That's almost as many as we had the entire year in North America. So yes, I want to expand this out to include additional data from Europe and Asia and down under, Africa, everywhere. I want to be able to include global data in here. That's a huge amount of cost for the resources to store that data and run that engine to produce this from all those. Because you're talking millions of logs in the span of one season. If you're talking about everything outside, well, if you're including North America as well, you're talking millions of logs over the span of an entire season globally. And this is just for May through August. We're not counting the stuff that's happening in our off season or peak season down in the Southern Hemisphere, right? I want to be able to get that in eventually. So there's going to be plans for expansion, but it's going to take time to get there. So be patient. Right now, what we have is what we can do. We'll be looking to expand this out as we go along. Okay. That is SEDAP, fmdxdata.com. All right. You ready for the next piece? My friends, I give you the Summer of DX. This is the other big project we've been working on. So, historically, the Summer of DX has been something that we've done specifically for AMDX in the first year, AM and FMDX last year. We had our form. You had to type in all the logs. I heard this station, this frequency, this time, blah, blah, blah. Here's the details, blah, 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 blah. It was very manual. It was very, very manual for the DXer to do anything. I've wanted, for all of our challenges, I've wanted to expand this to be able to give people the option to be able to upload logs and not have to just one at a time, onesie twosie, enter them in. Because even I'm like, oh, that sucks. So we've had to evolve as we've gone along. We started off, you used to have to put if you guys remember the first couple of seasons, you had to put your name in for every log. You had to put your email address in, your location in for every log. It was just a nightmare. And then we got that fixed, and then we got it to where, okay, then we've got pull down menus, and you just still have to type a bunch of stuff in manually, but it's there. Now, with our FM band scan, you guys saw the first iteration, the first trial run of what we're going to be doing here in the Summer DX, which was I have a list of stations. I can click on a box, and then I just go hit submit, and everything's there. But I wanted to take that to the next level, and I wanted to upgrade our experience here by adding in more challenges and more stuff to the challenge to have more immersion, okay? So one of the things that I said this year I wanted to do was this completely self-contained, custom-coded app. So very similar to SEDAP. This is all a custom-coded standalone app. Same thing for Summer of DX. Okay? So let's go here to put this in the link. There you go in the chat, summerofdx.com. All right. So with the Summer of DX, here is what you're going to see first. You have to, the first time you get here, you have to put in your location information, your name, your city, state, country. This is open for global. Anyone can log. Okay? Anyone around the world is allowed to submit logs to the Summer of DX challenge. Okay? Get settled in. This one's going to take a minute because this one is so freaking layered. Okay. So the first time you do this, you will have to put your lat long in, your name, city, state, or province, and your country. Okay. So you have to put all that in. And I think most of that pre-populates based off your lat long. Remember, right. To get your lat long, just like with the FM band scan challenge, you can put in your grid square, like mine's EM40XI. You can do a city search, or you can type in your coordinates manually, but you get all that in there. See this box right here that says save credentials in local terminal? Click that box, because every time you go back, it should repopulate this. I've been doing this now for a couple of weeks. I haven't had to re-enter my data in at all. Okay, as long as you're not clearing out your cache and your cookies and all that kind of stuff on a regular basis, you should be fine. Okay, so I hit authenticate. Anybody remember War Games? The movie War Games from the 80s? That was the inspiration. Okay? That was the inspiration behind our user interface here for the Summer of DX Challenge. Would you like to play a game? All right, here we go. Let's start with the data entry, because that's the part you guys are going to be the most interested in, is how do I get my data in to submit logs? So if I go over here to, I'm going to start with AM intercept. This is the medium wave intercept console here. So you'll see here, I have filters available to me where I can filter by frequency, call sign, city, state, whatever, and I have a station list. This station list has two sources. For U.S. domestic stations, our friend Mesa Mike, his amazing website. I've pulled all that data. Now, is it updated real time? No. So there's going to be possibly some call letter changes, some stuff that's off the air, things like that, especially as we get towards the end of the summer. But it's current as of right now. But redoing that every time is going to be like crazy. So you got what you got for right now. Okay. So this is going to populate the station list here for anything domestic. And it's sorted so that it's going to be based off your location to give you your closest stuff first. And then as you go down, it gets further and further away. So you can kind of try to knock out your closest stuff. Okay. And that's for all these tables we're going to look at. So it's sorted based off of closest first, furthest away. The international stuff, this this is the one I feel like I'm the most proud of. We have an international station database that we've put together. Couldn't use medium wave list. There's not really anybody else out there. But we have 5 years of medium wave frequency challenge logs that you guys have been submitting of international logs. So I just took that data that we already own and have access to. I had to clean it up. And then we then did a lookup and got all the lat longs on all of that station data from all the international logs you guys have been submitting for 5 years. And so if I go over here and I look, you're going to see, let me just choose Colombia as an example. We have Colombian stations available. So we have an international database of stations now. And the more you guys log, the more we're going to have. Okay. And so for the AM side of things, we have 5 years worth of international logs you guys have been submitting, which should get most of the stuff. Like most of the Cubans are in here. Let me just use that as another example. Here's Cuba. You'll see most of the Cubans. So now we have a consistent way for all these logs to be submitted. So if I hear a station, let's say I hear this Radio Guama on 720, I can just click on this little box right here that says logs. You'll see it says now target locked. There it has the information about that station. It automatically calculates your distance from that station based off of your location that you entered at the beginning. Did you receive this via SDR or not? You're going to want to mark that. Is this a live DX situation, or are you doing it off an IQ recording? Here's why you'd want to mark that. Because if you're doing an IQ recording, it's going to remember the date and time that you put right here. so that the next time you come back in and put another log in, you're not going to have to redo the date, redo the time every time. It's going to remember, if you're using IQ recording mode, it's going to remember what you did before. It's a sticky memory. It's going to remember the date and time that you entered before and leave that in there. And all you have to do is update the time if you need to, but the date should be the same. And then if you hit live, it clears that out. You can put any comments that you want to in here, and then you transmit your report to the server, and then it will log it for you. And then when you log it, it will then put a little green dot next to the station name so that you can easily see what stations you have logged. You can also take here where it says status, you have a status filter. I can filter that to say logged only, and it'll show me only the stations that I have logged through the challenge. Okay? That's the database search interface. Then we have the manual entry. So let's say you've got a station that doesn't exist in our database. You can manually put it in. Okay? You can manually enter in the station information in here, in through this interface here. Okay? However, here's what I would say. It's probably easier to do it this way. We now have a bulk import option. This is actually what I'm probably the most proud of. Okay? If you go over here, the bulk import, you can upload, if you go to like medium wave list and you go to your log for like the day or whatever, you can export that out to a CSV. Upload that CSV right here, and it'll import all of that information in. I have a parser that we built out that knows that medium wave list format, and it intuitively will be able to do this, especially when we get to FM and weather, NOAA weather radio. That's going to be very, very important. It'll intuitively know that's a medium wave list data source, and it'll apply the right parser to it, and it'll scrub it all, and then there will be a button here that let me show you how it kind of looks. I'm going to use my bulk import option here. I'm going to hit upload. I'll go to my downloads. I'm going to pick one of my, here it is, log 1299 here, this one, 2299. So when I hit add, it's going to now give you a preview of all of your logs. Okay, a little preview of the first handful. And then you would go down here and say process and transmit, and then it uploads it. You're good to go. And it'll take all that data and pull it in. Now, there is a filter. So if you try to submit logs that are coming out before or after our window of our challenge, it'll reject them. Likewise, if you're doing a recording review, if let's say I submit my logs from today, but I do the recording review and I have more logs and I submit that again, it will kick out anything that already has been uploaded. It'll kick those out. It won't duplicate it. Kick those out and just pull in the new stuff. How cool is this? That's going to be really helpful here in a minute when we get to FM. So yeah, you would just hit this little process and transmit, and it'll boop, put everything up. It's going to default to saying that you're an SDR. You have to tell it if you did a portable manually, if you want the portable bonus, okay? Because we're using the same scoring that we did last year, but with one new exception I'll talk about here in a minute. So that's the medium wave interface. The FM is very, very similar. It's pretty much the same. We have a station list here of WTFDA data. So this is the WTFDA data now put into a format where I can log, just like we had with the FM band scan log challenge that we did. I know we're at the top of the hour, but this is taking precedent for tonight. Just like before, you can filter this to only the stations that you've logged. You can filter by frequency, by country, by county. If you're trying to chase after certain counties, by state, by city, by grid. If you're trying to chase certain grids, because we have grids in here. You have the manual entry, just like we talked about. So the entry on this database piece right here is exactly the same. You click on the log, you put your information in here. Now, there is a drop down here for propagation mode that you're going to want to make sure that you pay attention to. If you're doing this this way with this station list, pay attention to your propagation mode. And then if you did an RDS decode as well, you want to put that in there too, because we're tracking RDS data here. Okay. And then the same thing, you'll have the live DX versus the IQ recording, so it'll remember, your dates and times, so you don't have to keep typing that over and over and over. So once you've clicked on it, it'll give you the target station that you want to submit the log for, and then once you got all your stuff in here, then you hit transmit, and then boom, you're done. You're good to go. You have the manual entry, just like we talked about before with the medium wave side, and then you have a bulk import. here's the cool thing about FM list, or FM rather. Yes, you can export out your FM list logs into a CSV and then upload that, and it'll look at that file and say, that's an FM list log, and it'll apply the right parser to it. So as an example, if I go over here, I have my FM list logs here. This is an FM list data set, I believe. Yep. So it knows where to put everything in the right columns and everything is good. It pulls it in. Okay. So it knows exactly how to handle that data. You can also do your WLogger logs. So if you are in WLogger logs, if you are logged into FM to the WTFDA and you're a member and you have access to the WLogger, you can go over here to settings/export, and you can export the last 24 hours, last 7 days, last 30 days, hit export CSV. That will give you a export of your logs from that time frame that you put in. And then you can take that CSV, click here, click upload. It will then recognize that that is coming from WLogger, apply the right parser to it, put everything in the right place, and then upload your logs. Pretty freaking cool. Am I right? Okay. So those are the two formats you can do for FM is WLogger and FM list. Or you can use the database search. Just click on the one that you want to log. Come down here. Make sure you have your date, time, and propagation mode right. Hit submit. You're done. Okay. Again, with the bulk import, it will reject anything that's not within the time frame of our challenge. And it will also kick out any dupes. So if I have, let's say I'm putting in something at a big eSkip opening today, and I'm putting all my stuff in, but then later I go do the recording review, and now I've added like 100 more logs. I upload it again. Those logs that I've already submitted will stay, and for the upload, it'll kick those out, and it'll just add in the new 100 ones that I've added to the database. Pretty freaking cool, huh? How do you get your sidebar back? I accidentally backed out of it, and it's gone. I can't get it back. You're going to want to, there's two things you can do. One, you can do Control Shift and then reset or refresh up here, your refresh button, or you can just do Control Shift and R. That's going to do a hard refresh, and that should give you your sidebar back. If that doesn't work, clear your cookies in your cache. That should give you your sidebar back. Either one of those two should work. Okay. I did that myself, so be very careful. Don't close your sidebar. I've tried to figure out how to keep that from happening, and I'll continue to work on that. I don't know why it's even a thing that like it can go away. I tried to get it to not be, but I couldn't get it to work. I don't know, the Streamlit app was kind of weird about that, but I'll keep working on it. Just be careful. Only click on the buttons. Don't try to like move it or whatever. Or click the little button here that makes it go away. Don't do any of that kind of stuff because we don't want that. We want everything to be nice and there. So just be careful. That's the FM side. Then we have NOAA Weather Radio. So this is the new one this year. We're doing NOAA Weather Radio. We have taken NOAA Weather Radio data from the Weather Service itself, and we've made that available. And so you have a station list, again, sorted by distance. So you'll see your closest up front. And then going down from there, we have a filter here. So you can filter by weather forecast office, by state, by frequency, by call sign, whatever you want to do to filter it down. So you can log those individual stations this way. If you submitted your log to FM list, because you can do that, you can bulk import that way as well. It will only pull in the logs that were there from the 162 megahertz range. And again, it'll also kick out any dupes or any out of date range stuff. But you can do the bulk import here as well. This is the station list view, so you can do your submissions that way. We also have a map view, because this is the popular thing to do right now, is make NOAA Weather Radio station location maps. You can use this, and then you can filter down and say, I'm on 162.4, and so here's all the 162.4 stations. And I'm hearing a tropo opening over into Florida. Well, here's the locations. I can hover over this, and I can see what stations are here. And then I can use that to then come back over here to our database list. And then I can filter that down to just the ones that I want and then log it that way. I'm working on a way to make that so you can actually click on that marker and log it that way, it'll actually bring you back over here and like already have it filtered down for just that station. I've been playing with it and I can't get it working yet, but I'm working on it. Okay. But you can still use that data map view to kind of see, and there's always a reset filter button to see all the stations that are there, and it will highlight in green anything you've logged. So if you see a green dot, that means you've logged it. Pretty cool, huh? Authentication required means you need to plug in your name, your location. That is required. You have to do that first before it lets you go in. You have to put your location lat long in. You can search for it by grid, search for it by city, or enter your lat long in manually. Name, city, state, country, put that in. Only reason that's there. I don't store that. I don't do anything with your data. The only thing we're doing is it puts a local thing on your local computer so that when you come back to our website, it knows who you are and it can use that for calculating your distances and your grids and all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason you're doing that. And so you don't have to keep entering that every time. Cool. You may have to do, Bob, an incognito window as well. I can try to do a reboot of the app if we need to, but yeah, you may have to use an incognito window. That should fix it. That will fix it, actually. Because right now it's just seeing it knows who you are, and so it's just doing that view. But if you go incognito, it won't know who you are. You'll have to re-authenticate every time with your location. But let me figure out how to get around that. I'll pose that to my AI assistant and see how we can get around that for you. I'm going to skip the encrypted intercept report for now. We're going to come back to that. Let's look at the dashboard. So that's how you enter your logs in for AM, FM, and NOAA Weather Radio. For your intercept debriefing, this is the dashboard replacement. Overview, just like we usually have. So it shows you all your submitted logs, how many total logs there are, who the score leader is for each band. So this is just that high-level overview. You can filter it down based on these filters up top. So I can just say, I just want to see just FM stuff. You can do that, right? Classification matrix. There's a couple of different sections on this one, a handful of sections, actually. You'll see your scores. So you'll see medium wave score, FM score, NOAA Weather Radio score. You'll notice here we have a multiplier. Our friend Sean Kutzko used to be with the ARRL, Big Ham Radio Contest guy, and he was like, dude, you got to do multipliers. So this year we're doing multipliers. Multipliers means every state for that, like for AM, FM, NOAA Weather Radio, right? In that particular category, every state that you log and every country that you log and every Canadian province that you log is a multiplier. So if I have, let's say, 10 U.S. states, I have 2 Canadian provinces and 3 countries. Okay? So 10 plus 2 plus 3, that's 15. So whatever my score is, which is the same as last year, you get a portable bonus. You get 1 point per 100 miles, or per every 100-mile range. And you get, so like, 450 miles is 4 points. You get the portable bonus, and you get the bonus for month based on how many if you log every month. Like if you log 10 logs in May, 10 logs in June, 10 logs in July, 10 logs in August, each of those months you're going to get a bonus as well. So the multiplier is there to then take whatever that score is that you have and multiply it times the multiplier number. So if you have 15, a combination of 15 states, countries, and provinces, then that's going to be a multiplier of 15 on top of your score. So your score gets multiplied based off of those multipliers. Capiche? Yeah. Had to delete your cache and history. That fixed it. Good. There you go. That got it. Be careful. So there's your score breakdown. That'll show you the scores. I've just put one entry into every category just so you would have something to show here. Your grid ledger. Who has got the grids? Okay. So for AM and FM, the goal is 100 grids. You get endorsements at every 50 after that. And so all you would have to do is once you've gotten to the 100 on AM or FM, click on this little box right here and then say, here's my name, here's my email address, here's what band I'm applying for. Hit that transmit, and that's going to email me a notification, and then I will reach out to you at the email address that you provided and get you your certificate. Okay, that's how that's going to work. For NOAA Weather Radio, it's not 100 grids because, my God, that would be impossible. It's 20. We're doing 20 grids for NOAA Weather Radio, and then every 10 after that gets you an endorsement. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm sorry, 25. 25? I thought it was 20. I'll have to double check that. I thought it was 20. It might be 25 though. But yeah, it's a much smaller number because it's harder to get. It's a lot harder to get. You got to hope for some Tropo. You got to hope for some E-skip. Pretty much. Okay. So this is the grid ledger. Who's looking good as far as getting grids for AM? We're doing grids for AM this year. FM, just like we did last year, and then the NOAA Weather Radio. Albeit we've lowered the bar for NOAA Weather Radio because it's so much harder. Counties, same thing. We're chasing counties. Who's got the 100 counties on AM, 100 counties on FM, and then your NOAA Weather Radio down here, and we're doing 25. Barry terminal. Actually, I'm sorry. Go down here to log out purge right here at the bottom. Log out purge. That takes you back to this screen, and it didn't purge, which I got to figure out why it didn't purge. But this will show you your lat long name, all that stuff. Okay, that's how you get back to it. Down here at the bottom, there's a log out option. Back to our classification matrix. So we have the county ledger. It shows you county scores, like who's got all the counties, like where are you at on the county grid, county, and then the grid for the grid chase. Same thing here as well. If you qualify for the Century Club, 100 counties, AM or FM, 25 for NOAA Weather Radio. You click on this box. This says you're going to request the county certification, which band you're doing. Here's your name, here's your email address, and that comes to me. I get an email. I do what I do, get you a county or a grid certificate. Okay. Intercept ledger. This is looking at how many logs you have submitted, unique logs. Because here's the thing: you may have, let's say I have an opening, an E-skip opening, and I hear a station out of Buffalo tomorrow, and I submit that in, and then 3 weeks later that station's back again. I submit it back again. It's going to let you do that. Okay, that's not considered a dupe as far as like letting you like kicking it out. It's not going to kick that out because it's a different time, a different day. Okay, we want to see how much total volume we're getting. But for this purpose, for the ledger, you're looking at unique counts of stations. So this is looking at unique stations. This is why we designated here unique station count. So for this intercept ledger, this shows you how many unique stations you're hearing. But the total logs, that's just everything. That's regardless of whether it's unique or not, with the exception of same date, same time. If you have the station log, same date, same time, that gets kicked out. But a station heard multiple days over the course of the year, no, that's not going to get kicked out. But this will keep it down here for your thing. And the score is looking at unique stations as well. Don't try to keep logging stations over and over. It's looking at unique stations as well. Okay, so that score is going to kick out anything that's a dupe. Don't try to game the system here. I'm one step ahead of you on that one. State ledger. How many states have you been hearing on all medium wave AM, FM, NOAA Weather Radio? Country, same thing. I don't have NOAA Weather Radio on the country because it's just U.S. And then agent location map. This will show you all the agents, the Xers, that have submitted logs where they're located. Then you can click on the little marker here and get some details about them, what they're doing, how they're doing in that location. And then this is for the U.S. And then we also have a global map here as well for our international friends. Don't feel left out, international friends. You are also part of this as well. So you can come in here and be part of the fun as well. So you can have your location on the global map. I just wanted to have a little bit different interface here for world versus North America. And again, got that War Games aesthetic still going, right? So this is the classification matrix. That's the scores, the grid and county ledgers, all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of keep track of how all that's looking. See how many layers this thing has? I'm telling you, it was a huge effort. Geographic intel. So this is the stuff that we talk about, like how many logs per state, So Louisiana has a log here. You can look at it based on all, and then also for each band. International, we're looking at the world map here. How many logs by country, AM or FM. Canada, province logs, AM, FM. Counties for the U.S., AM, FM, NOAA Weather Radio. And this will populate, oops, I clicked on it twice. I shouldn't have done that. This will populate individual counties, as you can see. Like here's St. Tammany Parish right here. Right? And Jefferson Parish for my logs, and Orleans Parish. So all three of these counties parishes have been logged by me so far. And then if you break it down for AM, it's going to show just the one that I have on AM, which was Orleans. FM, which is St. Tammany. NOAA the radio is the Jefferson. Right? So you get to see all those individual counties. So this hopefully will be nice and filled as we go along, as more people submit logs. And then you can also filter it down by your name if you want to just see just your stuff. Grid squares, same thing. This is going to be the grid map. This is for the 4-character grid. We didn't go 6-character because that's just too much. So we're doing 4-character grids here. So you can click on that grid and you can get more information about it. Oh, you can in the counties too as well. You can click on these things and get more data, just like we did with SEDAP. Okay, so I was training you guys with SEDAP to get you used to this, right? So you'll see all those kind of data metrics about that grid, who's been hearing what, how many logs, and so forth. Station locations. So now we have all the stations that have been logged mapped out. So you'll see here we have 3 different stations locations that have been put in place. Green is FM, cyan is AM, amber is NOAA Weather Radio. So as you guys add more logs, this will fill in with more and more and more stuff. Radar and telemetry. We take our E-tracker and our path forensics, all that stuff, and now we put it in here. Now, there's no sporadic E yet, so I can't show you the E-tracker. It works the same way the SEDAP does, but now we have an E-tracker for the challenge. So you guys get this. You will get to see that. As long as you guys are submitting logs through it here, you'll get to see the data, just like you do on SEDAP for the cloud tracker. Pretty cool. Intercept vectors. So this is the path, right? So this is showing the paths. You can break it down by propagation mode. You can break it down by band, all that stuff in here. So you can really get granular in looking at these different paths as more people submit logs. And then range forensics. This is what I'm really cool about, or happy about. You can change by propagation mode for FM and NOAA Weather Radio, and for band, you'll see a list of all of the top intercepts. And then if you click on that, it'll zoom in and give you a nice little range to show you the path and the distance on that. And then the little station details down here below. I hope you guys are seeing the level of effort and intent that went into this, because my wife and my mother can both attest. I've been in this room here in Studio A coding now for what seems like months. Frequency tuner. You remember the frequency tuner we had over there at the SEDAP? Well, we have it over here now too. So you can see stats based off of... Oops, I'm going to FM here. 94.7. You can see stats for individual frequencies as well. And then what are the top frequencies for each band? AM, FM, NOAA Weather Radio. Where do you enter your name and or address to submit logs on the Streamlit app? That is off of this page. So when you put your location and your name in here, and then you hit save their credentials and you hit authenticate, it saves your information. You don't have to type in your name anymore. It knows who you are. So as you're putting in your logs in here, it's going to know who you are, because you've put your information in. It's looking to that authentication that you've already done to know who you are and where you're located. That's how it's calculating all your distances. That's how it's calculating all, like, what you've already logged, everything. It knows who you are. Okay. Here are the rules. So if you want to know the rules, the scoring matrix, all this stuff, all the rules are here. Here's my little data privacy statement. Again, we're not saving your data for anything. We're not selling it to anybody. We're not using it. I don't have access to your location information other than what's in the log itself. your lat long and all that kind of stuff, that's all on your computer. The app is looking at that, but that's as much as it's doing. And that's just so it can do the distance calcs. But it's not storing it in our system. We're not distributing it. We don't have to see passwords, IP addresses, any personal contact information, nothing. So from a privacy standpoint, this is secure. And the lat long that you put in, like my lat long is based off my grid square. That's not my lat long of my house. Right? So if you're worried about like your address, no. Just put your lat long in based off a grid square, like the 6 character EM40XI. That's not anywhere near my house. It's close. It's in the general area, but it's not like on my street or anything. All right. So those are all the dashboard stuff. Really get in there. You can really get granular, as you can see, into the data. All the data import and intercept reporting stuff, like putting all this in. Now, let's talk about why everything is in this little like data terminal spy looking like intercept report targets and all that stuff. One of the things that I had an idea for was this year we would do a bounty challenge. That was the original thing I was originally going to put into this challenge. We added the extra stuff, the grids and the counties and all the NOAA weather radio and stuff as we went along. But the bounty thing was like, okay, this year I'm going to do bounties. And bounties are like, I give you a target to go after. And I say, okay, go find me a graveyard radio station that's 500 miles or more from your location on 12:30. There's your bounty. And you come back, you submit that log in a special way with an air check, and then that comes in, and then we can have a list of people who are bounty hunters, okay? And I got to thinking about it. I was like, let's make this fun. Let's do something unique and different and something a little fun this year, rather than just like, here's a link and you go click on this link and you submit a thing and blah, blah, blah. So I got to thinking about like bounties, espionage, war games, our terminal interface that we had here. That was like one of the first things I was like, I want this to look like war games, right? Like a NORAD terminal or something like that. So I was like, well, let's take that to this bounty hunt thing. So the bounty hunt is over here. Encrypted intercept report. You don't have to do this. I just thought it might be kind of fun. Okay. So click on encrypted intercept report. That's going to bring you here. If you go here, you'll see there is an input audio code word. The audio code word is broadcast at the top of every hour on a special number station broadcast on DX radio. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, because you're my faithful audience and you guys have stuck with me through so much, I'm going to tell you a fun, easy way if you don't want to have to. I'd like it if you listen to DX radio, because I put a lot of energy into that too. But if you don't have the time to go listen at the top of the hour because you got DX going on, I get it. Let me tell you the easy way to find your current code word. Go to thisisprobablydxradio.com. Okay, go here. Go to this link. That will bring you to this page. We've updated our wallpaper here. Peter is out to the beach. As you see here, here's Peter's video of him at the beach. See the little XH Data D808 radio there in the foreground. You see the ocean waves. Peter is at the beach. If you need to get to the Summer of DX, you can click on our little DX or Cool Cat, and that'll take you to our Summer of DX page. If you're looking for DX radio and you just want to listen in, you click on the boombox here, and this will bring up a little player, and you can play DX radio. That's DX radio. And again, at the top of every hour, we cut into our programming with our transmission of the code word. And you'll notate that here in our little schedule that you see here. Primary uplink. Here's the schedule. Top of the hour. Intelligence drops. Blah blah blah. We're doing the alternative reality immersion here, right? So just have fun with it. Have fun with it. Your agents, your espionage agents who are targeting an intercept for a specific radio broadcast. The microphone over here. Click on the microphone. That's going to bring up this little guy right here. This is a little shortwave receiver that's going to tune in our special number station broadcast. You guys ready to hear this?
Whiskey. 3. Alpha. Tango. Hotel. 3. Romeo. Acknowledge receipt and transmit telemetry to the secure uplink. Destination. Summer. Of. DX.com. End of message.
There you go. So that's our number station broadcast. So if you're ever looking for the current code word, go to thisisprobablydxradio.com, click on the microphone. That brings up our little player. Hit play. There's the current code word. These run for 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, there will be a new code word. Okay? So you have 2 weeks to complete the bounty. So our code word was Whiskey 3, Alpha, Tango, Hotel 3, Romeo. Weather. Hit verify. And that will bring up, if you got the code word correct, it brings up your dossier of your bounty to go after. In this case, for our first one, you are submitting for approval reception of a NOAA weather radio station located more than 100 miles from your home QTH. And then you come down here and you scroll down and you say what frequency you're receiving the station on. And all the NOAA frequencies are pre-programmed. And it's going to give you all the stations on that frequency that qualify for the bounty. So let's say I'm on 162.5. It's going to show me all the stations that qualify for the bounty. You put your email address in here. You upload an air check, MP3, 30 seconds with the ID. You upload that in. That comes to me. I review the air check. And then I go into the spreadsheet and I either say it's approved or not. If it's approved, we're going to have a leaderboard for the bounties to see who's got the most. If it's not approved, so sorry. I'll email you and say not approved. Can't tell if that's them or not. Try again. So there you go. There's our first one. Weather with 3s for E's. Weather is your code word. There's your bounty. Go forth. Get us a NOAA weather radio station in here. NOAA is always locals and semi-locals and the closest possible station on each frequency. Except when it's not. Except for Tropo. Except for eSkip. That's why we're doing this one as our first one. Tropo and eSkip. We'll see. I've got, let's see, I've got how many stations? NOAA weather radio that are over 100 miles from here? We can see I got 595 miles, 507, 489, 474, 451, 401, 397, blah, 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 blah. You can get meteor scatter too. You can get meteor scatter on NOAA weather radio. Meteor scatter, Tropo is also a propagation mode, and you can do this with, so it doesn't matter how you get it. Give me the air check. Submit your station that you're submitting for the bounty, and we'll put you in there. And who knows? I'll cook up something cool for our bounty hunters this year. I don't know what we'll do. We'll do something cool for the bounty hunters, though. We'll have a leaderboard and all kinds of stuff. But again, here's your information about where to find DX Radio. This is probably DXradio.com. Top of the hour, every hour. In case you forget, top of the hour, every hour. Throughout the day, we'll give you the number station broadcast that we just listened to and give you the code word that you can enter here and get the dossier. There you go. That is the that is SEDAP. That's the summer of DX. What do you guys think? I know you guys have been going crazy in the chat, and I've tried to keep up with it. I've only seen a couple. But it's If there's any questions that are outstanding that I haven't gotten a chance to cover yet, send them in the chat. Resend it. Give me questions in the chat, and we'll go from there. We'll get all your questions answered. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Weather DX. We're going to talk about NOAA Weather Radio and how you guys can hopefully get some DX on NOAA Weather Radio frequencies into your logbook this summer, and some tools and some resources to help you with that. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way. It'll be heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central. From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
The signal ist stark.
The signal is strong.
Through the dark, über dem Land.
Over the
DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here for our season finale for season 6.
keep going.
Logic systems.
I had to take that was a lot of talking.
Mensch-Maschinen-Interface. Mensch-Maschinen-Interface.
We're talking SEDAP, our Sporadic E data analysis project. We're talking about the Summer of DX challenge, which we just blew up this year. We took what was a basic challenge, and we just, I said earlier, threw the kitchen sink at it. Should everyone submit their email address every time they submit a log? No, you don't have to. You don't have to submit your email address at all. The only times you have to submit your email address, there's 2 times. One is if you're doing a bounty, and that's so that I can reach out to you and let you know if your bounty has been approved based on the air check that you submit and then tied to the bounty. The other time is when you qualify, when you've reached your grid quota on AM or FM or NOAA Weather Radio, and you're applying to be in the Century Club and get the certificate, or the county for the 100 grids or 100 counties or 25 for the NOAA Weather Radio. If you're applying for the Century Club and you to get your certificate, I need to know where to send it for email address. So that's why that's the only other place. Those are the only 2 times you need to submit your email address when you're doing either a Century Club to get your certificate on that sheet, the screen that I showed you earlier, or if you're doing the bounty. And that's the only reason I'm doing that. It's just so I know I can have a place to reach out to folks and say, here's your certificate, or your bounty has been approved or not. That's it. That's the only reason. Other than that, you shouldn't have to enter your email address to do any logs. You shouldn't have to enter your name or location once you've set your authentication at the beginning when we did the lat long. I did see, I think it was Keegan said that the lat long put a different city. That's fine. You can just change the city. It may populate a different city based off your grid. That if you're doing a grid search, but just overwrite that city name with whatever name you want to use. and then you're good to go. Hit authenticate, and then you're locked in at that point. You are good to go, man. You are good to go. I do ask, try not to change your name, like your spelling of your name. Like, don't put your name as like Lloyd Van Horn, and then the next time you just put it as just Lloyd, because now you're going to be two different DXers in the data. Okay? Don't change your city, your location stuff, unless, and this is the other, I freaking forgot about this, unless you're doing the rover. So this is another thing that we're adding this year to the Summer of DX Challenge. It's not shown. Here, let me go back to our thingy here. At the top, if you look at the top of the intercept report where you're putting in your logs, put my stuff back in, re-authenticate. If you look at the top up here on the FM, you have a home QTH and a rover. And I think you also have that for NOAA Weather Radio as well. There's a home QTH and a rover. Rover is if you're going out more than 25 miles away from your home to activate grids or counties, right? So if you're doing any traveling this summer and you're traveling out, okay, when you hit rover, it's going to ask you, where are you, to enter your grid at that rover location. So let's say I'm taking a road trip out West Texas. I'm going to enter my grid out in West Texas. Any logs I submit over there, now it's going to calculate my distance and all that stuff based off of that location. And it's going to mark them as rover logs. So what you're doing is you're trying to activate that grid or that county, right? Because maybe you're going to be hearing some stuff that other folks aren't hearing because you're out there in that local area. So now you've got that grid or that county or whatever activated. So we're going to have I didn't put it together yet because I don't know how many people are going to do it. Maybe some folks are going to do it. Maybe some folks won't. I didn't want to build a bunch of stuff if no one's going to do it. So if folks actually do start doing a bunch of rover logs, then we're going to put a rover leaderboard to show who's putting up the most grids, the most counties, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be putting that in based off of that, based off of the response. That's it. Same thing with the bounties. I didn't build out the bounty leaderboard because I want to see how many folks are doing the bounties before I put the effort into building that out. So if you guys are really into it and you're digging it and you're loving the bounty stuff, or you've got people who are doing the rover, we'll build that out. We'll put that in there. That way you can track your progress and see how you stack up. So there you go. Let's talk Weather DX. NOAA Weather Radio. So, and again, the rover is if you leave your location, right? It's not like if you're DXing from home or within 25 miles of home, then it's just your home QTH stuff, which is what it's going to default to for everybody. But if you're out and about doing some road trips this summer, doing some traveling, if you're, visiting family or something like that, and you want to activate from your location, your other location that you're at, that's where you would use the rover option. And that will then ask you that, what grid are you in for this? You type that in, and now that's tied to your logs from that location. Okay, let's talk about NOAA Weather Radio. And this is, we're adding that into the Summer of DX Challenge, but it's also something that we're getting a lot more traction of people doing NOAA Weather Radio DX in recent years. I put that squarely at the feet of our good friend Les Rayburn. Les has been beating the NOAA Weather Radio drum now for quite some time. And I dabbled with it, and then last year during e-skip season, we had some big MUF pushes that got into NOAA Weather Radio, 162 megahertz, and I just forgot about it. To be honest with you, I just forgot that it was there. I was focused on FM, and now I'm kicking myself because I really wish I could go back and get some of that stuff. So hopefully we'll get some e-skip up into NOAA Weather Radio this year on the band. But NOAA Weather Radio DX can be a lot of fun. It's extremely challenging. You have to really adjust your expectations. If you're used to going out and logging like 200-300 stations on a e-skip event, or if you're used to getting a bunch of stuff from Tropo or whatever, no, that's not NOAA Weather Radio. It's extremely challenging. If you're trying to do e-skip or meteor scatter rather for NOAA Weather Radio, that's even harder, right? It can be done. You can do it, and you can have a lot of fun with it, but it's extremely challenging. But when you get stuff in the log, it's pretty pretty damn rewarding. Okay. I've got 25 stations, I think, here now from Mandeville on NOAA Weather Radio. As you saw earlier, the logs up to about almost 600 miles down into Texas and things like that. Up into Missouri, I've gotten some for you, Tropo, things like that. I haven't gotten any E-skip yet, but I'm hoping this year. So let's now talk about how to do this. So there's a couple ways you can do it from an equipment standpoint. You can use an SDR that covers that frequency range. My favorite that I use here at the house for that is NOAA Weather. My AirSpy R2. My AirSpy R2 covers that frequency range. It doesn't have the AM, HF, and all that kind of stuff. It's basically VHF and up, or high HF and up. And I have a J-pole antenna. It's just it's cut for 162 megahertz, and that's my NOAA Weather Radio setup. But you'd be surprised how, if you have just a VHF antenna, how good that can do, even if it's not cut for the band. I use the example. I have an FM 9-element Yagi, and I have an FM omnidirectional up at 65 feet. Both of those are feeding into an RSP Duo, where I can use diversity mode. I'll tune up during a Tropo opening. I'll tune up to those NOAA Weather Radio frequencies, and I'll see if I can use the diversity mode between those two FM antennas to get rid of my locals and get DX underneath. And it's worked. If you look at my logbook, you'll see here, and I pull it up on screen. Let's do this here. You'll see here where it says antenna. Any of these that say phased combination of Omni and Yagi, which is 6 stations. It's not an earth-shattering amount. Again, lower your expectations about how much you're going to get here as far as volume. But you'll see here, I got a couple stations in Austin, Texas, one in Mobile, a station in Slidell, and then one up in Shreveport and one in Lake Charles. I wouldn't have normally gotten those because if you look at this one here in Lake Charles is on .550. I have a local here in New Orleans on that frequency. The one in Mobile, Alabama was also on the .550. I've got my local here in New Orleans. The .475, I've got a local on that frequency. And I was able to get out of Morgan City, Louisiana, to get that one in. This one here in Natchitoches on the .5. Was able to get them in, and also another one here on the .5 out of LaGrange because there was other stuff coming in. I used the phaser to pull that one in. The 525, we have a station in Bogalusa on 525. Well, I got rid of them, got Austin. So, and that's with 2 FM antennas. Okay, so just because you don't have an FM or a NOAA Weather Radio antenna, don't feel bad. You can still do something. Try it out. I have a Grove Scan antenna up in the attic, and that is fed through an HF Plus dual SDR, and that is on this SDR right here. I can go up here, and you'll see 62.4. There's my 2 locals right here, the 5.5 and the 5.25. But if I pull that contrast down a little bit, well, that's higher. The other way. There we go. And I can zoom in here a little bit. Set my spacing to 25 kilohertz. And now I'm just going to go up here. Now go to 425. There's 450. You see, I'm not really getting... There's a 475. There's one of my locals. And then there's the 525 and the 550. Let me center this up. Here we go. Now we can see the whole band. So there you go. There's everything from the 400 to the 550. And it's on a Grove Scan antenna. It's a scanner antenna. It's not cut for 160. Right? But it's pulling it, and it's up in the attic. So it's a compromise of a compromise of a compromise. But it pulls it in, gets me the DX. So that's, again, another way that you can try to get some of these NOAA Weather Radio stations is even if you don't have a dedicated antenna just for NOAA Weather Radio, you can likely still get stuff using other antennas, FM antennas. Anything cut for VHF is going to be pretty close. If you have a 2-meter ham radio antenna, it's pretty close, right? You can probably get something off of that. Let's talk about some of the resources that you can use to get you some stations in your logbook. So here are some resources. I'll put some of these links here in the chat for you. This is a NOAA Weather Radio map. So kind of like the one that we have on our DX challenges, our Summer DX Challenge website. This shows you locations of all the different NOAA Weather Radio stations by call sign, and if you click on it, you'll get some information about that station. So it's on 162.525 in Bogalusa. If I click here, now I've got information about the station itself, what forecast office it's in, and so forth. So this is a really, really great resource. And this shows you like the coverage area of it, of the station or whatever. A really, really great resource if let's say I'm getting a little bit of tropo into a specific area and I want to try to, like over here in Florida, and I want to try to kind of narrow this down, what station I'm hearing. I can use this to help me do that. Another one that I use here is this Rabbit Ears website. Rabbit Ears actually allows me to come in here and I can say, I want to see anything on 162. Let's say I'm hearing a station in Florida. I know it's in Florida. I just can't tell where, but it's on 162.400. I just choose that filter to filter that down. And there's all the 162.400 stations in the state of Florida. And there's the full list. And then I can take this information, right? I can click on it. There's like the WWF 38 in Inverness on 162.4. Now I can go back to my map over here that I was just looking at. And I can now click on that one that's and there it is, 162.4, click on it. Now I got my forecast office information, as long as it pulls up. There you go. There's the forecast offices out of the Tampa Bay area forecast office. And now I have all the information I need to be able to go ahead and log that station if that's who I'm hearing, right? So those are two fantastic resources. The NOAA Weather Radio map of all the stations, and then the Rabbit Ears map. You just narrow down by the state, or, at the very minimum, you can do just the frequency, what frequency you're sitting on. So here's all the 162.4s. And then you can kind of go from there, right? So I know it's in Texas. Maybe it's the Houston station, or maybe it's the Victoria station or whatever, right? So that can give you some idea of what to kind of listen for. Another thing that people do a lot is they actually use this website to say, okay, I'm hearing a particular bulletin, right? You can go in here into this website, and this will pull up all the different products. Now, I don't use this a whole lot because there's a ton of stuff here, and I just haven't really gotten granular with it. But you can go in here, and you can pull up all these different products, and this will help you narrow down, like if I'm hearing a specific bulletin, like an alert or a specific frequency or a temperature rather, whatever, you can use this to help you narrow down who it is that you're hearing based off the actual text that you're hearing being read out over the air. And so you can use this based off of whatever date you're listening for, by what weather forecast office and so forth. So you can go in here, pull this up, and this will give you the different products that they push out. So you can use that to try to match up with what you're hearing on the NOAA Weather Radio. Okay. I think there's one there. Again, someone who uses this may want to talk about it in the chat. There's some of these that are the ones they actually read out on the, like the coastal waters forecast. I know that's one that gets read out on NOAA Weather Radio quite a bit. Here's your coastal waters forecast for the blah, 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 blah area. Seas 5 feet, whatever. That thing, you would go pull that coastal waters forecast if that's what you heard, and then use that to try to narrow down who it was that you got, right? So there you go. Another couple sites, there's some newer sites that are out because apparently it's becoming pretty popular to create websites about NOAA weather radio stations. I'm going to give you two here. One is from our friend Kyle, DX Sphere up in the Pacific Northwest. Here's his new site he just launched that has a map of all of the NOAA weather radio stations. And he keeps a track list over here of who is online and who's off the air. So you'll actually see anyone who's got an outage going on right now. But you can click on these and you can get station information about that particular station. Like here's the 162.55 here in New Orleans. Here's the different same codes and what counties, parishes they cover. You can get some information about some of their different recordings of that station that you're looking at. And I think it's also got some information about, let's see. I thought they might be having a link to some of the products that we just talked about, but I guess not. So yeah, you can, and I guess I need to go in here and record some of this and upload for Kyle. You can very easily see information about these different sites that are there. And then I can go over here and I think I clear that. They are active, obviously, because I'm listening to them a lot. You can see, you can search by call sign and so forth. So there's a lot of a lot of data in here, just like we have on our challenge page. The same kind of principle, but you can see the full station list here. There we go. I just double clicked and that got rid of the filter there. So there you go. That's Kyle's website. There's also this one that I saw today. I don't know a whole lot about this one. I just saw it. There you go. This has some station information about stations. So here's like our weather forecast office here in the New Orleans area. Some of the stations that we have. There's the Bogalusa. Here's New Orleans. So it kind of, this one goes more into like tying the stations into the forecast office that's there. It looks like they're still building it out, perhaps. But yeah, this can give you information about the different stations tied to that specific forecast office that you're looking at there. It's pretty cool. And then I'm going to put this link in here. This is our friend Les. He put this together. This is a link tree that he has for sourcing all kinds of stuff on WeatherDX. So you've got information here on antennas. You've got the interactive maps. You've got NOAA weather radio, like actual like gear. Like here's the Smiley antenna right here. That little whip that I showed you earlier. NOAA weather radio outages. Here's a filtered preamp. I mean, he's got all kinds of stuff on here. A lot of antenna stuff in here. So if you're interested in WeatherDX and you want to know some resources and tools that are out there, get your hands on some antennas, things like that, his link tree he put together is fantastic. So definitely check that out. Again, I'll put the link to that in the chat as well. So that is WeatherDX. It's just go. There's 7 frequencies. The bandwidth you can get super tight on your SDR, so the file sizes are not very large. And just go see what you can hear. Speaking of seeing what we can hear, let's do our final check of the AM band for season 6 of DX Central Live. Do a little live DX here.
DX Central Live, top of the hour alert.
All right, this top of the hour, this DX session brought to you by the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org. So we're sitting on 1510 right now, as we typically do. Let me actually put this up here. There we go. We're on 1510. Let me get rid of... Go back to my DSB.
Actually knows what the flip they're doing and is closing.
Get rid of WLAC. We might have some solar conditions happening the next couple days. Some geomagnetic storms that are occurring, so that might give us a little bit of southern enhancement, folks. Rick says his W6LVP loop actually does better at getting some of those NOAA weather radio stations than his 2-meter antenna. Yeah, I don't doubt that a bit. So this should be Ecuador that we're hearing right now for the final time in season 6, tuning in Radio Monumental. Hey, Ethan, seeing you're in there. And no, I haven't forgot about shout-outs. We're about to get those in right now. We're going to just power through all the shout-outs. We had a lot to get through with SEDAP and the Summer DX. All right, so there's Ecuador coming in. Again, AMDXing, folks, you may want to keep an eye on the band the next couple of nights. We may have some conditions coming in. They'll give a little southern enhancement. And again, I definitely just remind y'all, don't dismiss the idea of AMDX over the summertime. It is a lot more fun than people realize. You can actually do a lot of stuff. Is it a challenge? Yeah. I've said that before. It's a big challenge, but you can definitely do some fun stuff with it. So there you go. Let's go ahead and do those. Let's get to some shout outs. Let's power through a bunch of shout outs here.
To FM, from C to C, we celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way, shout outs making waves today.
All right, for the last time of season 6, we turn to you, our DXing audience, to hear what you have been hearing, and not just over the last week or so. Tonight we're doing the season recap. So this is our look back. We want to look at all of the season since the fall. What have you guys been hearing? What have you been working on as far as your equipment, your gear, your antennas? Whatever it is you wanted to share. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. All right, let's start off here. We've got quite a few of these to get to, and they're pretty big because they're season recaps. So we'll start off with our friend, though, Mr. Stewart, who's over in England right now, over in London. Jolly London town. Our friend Stewart's over there right now. Happy E-Skip season 1 and all. We are there. It's now May 1st. So we are officially now in E-Skip season. After Lloyd is reading the shout out, I'll be sleeping in the London area, but I definitely can't wait to catch the replay. Before I get into my season 6 recap, I thought I'd share a few new FM logs while DXing a Tropo opening on Sunday morning from my auto loggers location in Dexter. He's up in Michigan, by the way. Stuart is, for those of you who don't remember. Relay at WCMU 96.9 in Standish, Michigan at 114 miles, 105 miles to Clare, Michigan, 95.3 CFX. WCFX is the calls. Holland, Michigan, 105 miles to be MAX 96.1 the game. The season brought new experiences and achieved goals to my logbook, including the creation of a logbook itself. Here are some distance highlights received this season. Furthest catch on FM, Way FM in Naples, Florida, 89.5 to be AYJ at 1,122 miles via winter E-Skip on January the 8th. Not even E-Skip season. Off-season gets the crown. Nice. Furthest Tropo catch on FM, Magic 98.1 to be MGN in Madison, Wisconsin, 290 miles with RDS on December 17th, 2 miles shorter than my current Tropo record from here. Furthest catch on NOAA Weather Radio was KJY 96 on the .5 in Guyman, Oklahoma, 998 miles via Meteor Scatter on January 10th. See, I told you Meteor Scatter can do NOAA Weather Radio too. Furthest Tropo catch on NOAA Weather Radio was to be XM75 on the .475 in Gilbert, West Virginia, 334 miles on December 24th. Furthest catch on ham radio was also December 24th, 299 miles, K3YFO repeater on the 145.39. AM furthest catch, Radio Nacional de Colombia, that's 570 HJND in Bogota, 2,674 miles for a new distance record set on November the 11th. And the most unexpected highlight of the season, hearing E-Skip in February from the Orlando airport with an MUF of at least 99.7 megahertz. Crazy. My totals currently stand at 461 FM stations, 78 NOAA weather radio stations, within 25 miles of Ann Arbor. Thanks in large part to Lloyd's encouragement not to turn my back on AM. I'll be keeping an eye on it at times this summer and throughout next season, but I have to admit that my heart belongs to FM and VHF. We have to maximize the time that we have with the VHF and FM when it's here, right? Aided tremendously by the thrill of an E-Skip chase, and that's where I'll absolutely be spending most of my time. Thanks, Lloyd, for reading all my shout-outs this season. Got you, homie. 73 to all. See you guys in the season 7 premiere, and here's to a fun summer of DX. So a bunch of really cool things. For the season recap, we're just going to keep this simple. You got a bunch of really awesome achievements, milestones, goals that you set that you got. Well done, my friend. This season, he got new states, new countries, new provinces, new Mexican states, new Latin American stations, Louisiana logs, Wisconsin logs, new goals, new milestones achieved. He got it all. So well done, my friend. I'm glad to have you in here, Stuart. Appreciate you being a supporter of the show and all the work that we do. Next up, we have our friend Pixel up in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia, right there on the border. Even with the lack of e-skip, I surprised myself with all the DX I was able to pull off this year. Thanks to a Black Friday, I was able to give my DXing setup a big upgrade, which has only made DXing better, and I hope I can utilize it for the upcoming FMDX season. Also, and I believe that was an Air Spy, right? Also, since I have dabbled with No Other Radio DX, even IDing some new stations thanks to the Slack group. While my AM DX has been lacking, I was still able to pull out some DX. Now, if you know me from Slack or somewhere else, you probably know me for my FM Meteor Scatter DX, which has kept me so busy since the summer e-skip season faded away. There is simply too much FM Meteor Scatter to list. It's also truly a blessing to be part of the Slack group and other radio groups I have found, since it's great to talk to other people who share interest in it. And I would like to shout out the DX community for being here for each other. Absolutely. I'd like to especially thank Lloyd for using this YouTube channel as a common place for us to unite. And we'd like to thank Ryan in Kansas from Wichita for sending me to the invite to the wonderful Slack group, where I could go on and on and on about how blessed I've been regarding this hobby. I think at the core of it, though, the people are the most important part of this hobby, and I'm glad I'm part of it. Man, I remember the first time I saw and met Pixel, I was in the Discord, the FMDX web server Discord group, or Discord server. And not long after that, he made the transition, came over and added in, started doing some of the stuff in the Slack channel as well. And love seeing his Meteor Scatter catches. His Meteor Scatter catches get a lot of attention. His autologger, his Meteor Scatter autologger gets a lot of attention in the social media groups out there. People love that stuff. So, man, I'm just so happy that you're here. So we're going to give you, let's see. He said, I know he's gotten some goals. I know he's got some new gear. So we're going to do new gear for you this year, Pixel, because I know you got that new SDR. You're doing some antenna stuff, and that's made a huge difference in your DXing. Having some extra nice gear has made a big, big difference. So glad to have you in there, man. We're going to give you the Hornet Victory as well. Coming up next, we have our friend Nathan Faraday up in North Carolina. Just moved from the coast out to the Charlotte metro area. A wild stretch for me, moving to Concord to getting a TEF with now heard country number 3 on medium wave. Plenty of new changes. Looking forward to this summer as I'm going to be putting in maximum effort for eSkip with the TEF and some new code projects I may be releasing in time for eSkip season. I know he was something he was kind of dabbling in last year, and he's going back and he's building this like dashboard, like a FM propagation dashboard. It's really, really cool. So I love seeing all the energy, the young energy coming into the hobby, new folks with new ideas and new projects they're working on, using AI to help build stuff. That's what I've leaned on heavily for all the stuff that you guys saw tonight. So for you, my friend, we're going to hit you with the goal, because I know you had several goals that you were trying to achieve this year. Getting a new country on medium wave was 3 new countries on medium wave, I think, was part of that. And just getting the TEF in hand, getting the new TEF radio, getting that in hand to do some really good DX. That is outstanding, man. Outstanding. Let's see here. Coming up next, we have, and glad to have you as well in the Slack channel, man. Love to see your energy. Dan Massey up in Texas. I have now finished 2 AM seasons back in the hobby. I started the first season with an Eton 750 portable and a Texan AN200 loop in an unelectrified cabin. I've ended the second season with a Kiwi SDR, an HF Plus Discovery, and a TEF 6686. It's exponential. You start with one, and next thing you know, how did I have all these SDRs and radios just show up? You don't realize it. It just Happens. Antennas, a W6 LVP loop, a 350 foot 4-bog array, a loop on the ground, and a 4-element Yagi. Even better, a shack with AC and heat. Many thanks to Lloyd and this group for giving me the confidence to expand and enjoy this hobby. I'm happy for you, man. My first go around in AM was back in 1970 to 76. Some say it's not the same, and you can't DX AM like you used to, and the noise is terrible and so much. He says, and I quote, "That is ridiculous." You heard it from not just me. I know I've been beaten on this bandwagon for a while. Not just me, guys. He said it too. My 10-year-old self would give anything for an SDR, a desktop computer, the internet, and the resources of a group like this available in real time. Exactly. Many of those nights where I was sitting there straining to try to get one in the logbook and never could because I didn't have Kiwis I could go try to match up to, or someone I could bounce off in real time. Hey, are you hearing this? Blah, blah, blah. You know? Here's a link to a picture of my first AM radio that I used to DX in the early 70s. A massive internal ferrite, impossible tuning knob. I never did complain, though. And so we'll drop this link that he put in here into the chat so you guys can see it as well. Actually, we'll just put it up here on the screen. We'll do it this way. Oh, I don't have access. Never mind. So, sure it was an awesome radio. So let's do for you, my friend. We've already done the gear. We've already done the milestone. I think for you this year, let's see. You know what? I know I was going to do one per, one of these only, but not that one. No. You got the gear as well. Because you added in some new gear, added in some new antennas, and that's helped you to get more stuff in the logbook. So we'll give you the gear shout out here as well. Well done, man. Our friend Barry Bankston up in Tennessee. Tennessee, well represented between Pixel and Barry and some other folks in here. Well, Barry, he's top dog when it comes to these challenges, right? He's always been our top dog. Well, thanks to some great openings to Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the South Pacific. That's how he starts his shout out. I was able to log 8 new countries as follows: France, Ukraine, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Australia, and New Zealand. On what band, you might ask? Medium wave. AMDX. Again, when people tell you there's nothing to DX on AM anymore, you can point to Barry Bankston and say, my man got 8 new countries. Let me rattle off some names to you here. Was also able to accomplish one of my goals of the season, which was to log one of the low-powered 400-watt X-band Australians. Can't wait to see what next season brings. Well, I can tell you exactly which shout-out you're getting, man. We're stamping passports for our friend Barry, because my man Barry, getting the stuff down under, getting the stuff from the Middle East, getting the stuff from the South Pacific and Eastern Europe and all this other stuff. My man Barry with the logs that prove that AMDX is still absolutely a wonderful thing that you can do. It's viable. There's stuff to hear. It's not all gone. It's not all just a bunch of junk. There's good stuff to be heard here. So well done, my friend. Well done. Our friend John Johnson out in Arizona checking in. One new logging to report to be DAY 970 Fargo, North Dakota, surfaced recently. No sign of dominant K or XEJ. KVWM Sholo, Arizona has been quite weak lately since they fixed their off-frequency problem. That's my 5th North Dakota logging. My Mesa total is now up to 934 stations. I've added 20 new loggings this past season. So, my man John Johnson up in Arizona, we're giving you the log shout out on this one, man, because you're consistent every week. You got something new in there. At least 1-2 new stations in every week. You're hitting the dials with consistency. You're methodically going about it and just trying to inch your way up that log total. And man, I appreciate you being here and being a supporter of the show as well. So well done. Coming up next, we have our friend Dave up in Montana. Dave says, I've logged 113 medium wave stations in 3 months back in 2024. After that, I drifted away from DX and went back to operating CW on the ham bands, which I still like to do on occasion. But in February of this year, I came back to medium wave with a vengeance. 224 new stations logged. Now I have 337 stations logged in a total of 6 months of active listening. Bonaire, Cuba, a lot of Mexican stations that I never dreamed of I'd be able to bring in from Montana. I learned quite a bit watching DX Central Live and from the kind folks in the Slack channel. I received invaluable help from fellow DXers about setting up loops, and it really paid off. I know he's been doing quite well with his like terminated loops, super loops, things like that. A lot of my recent success has come from deploying a 10 by 20 and then 15 by 50 foot super loop terminated loop antenna, concentrating right now on logging regional and graveyard stations on medium wave, and I still get a rush every time I log a new one. So glad to be back in the hobby. Much thanks to Lloyd and everyone for their encouragement and support. Wishing everyone the best this DX season. So for you, my friend, I'm giving you the Mexican log shout out because I've been very impressed with the stuff that you've been getting from south of the border this year. Well done, my friend. You have absolutely been putting those super loops to good use, getting stuff deep into Mexico, new Mexican states that I've seen you pulling in. Some really, really good stuff. So congratulations, my friend. Kudos to you. Appreciate your support as well. Barnabas in Florida. I don't think we've had Barnabas check in, maybe once or twice, but not very often. But glad to have you here, my friend. I was looking for patterns of signals when scanning the dial. I pulled in WWL 870 AM, which I really easily should be hearing from New Orleans to Orlando. But I also got WN QNO 690 from there this week, around 2,000 watts, and not even 10,000 a day if internet told me the truth, and that is true. So well done, my friend. New log for our friend Barnabas, and it's a Louisiana log. So we're going to be dishing out a bowl of that gumbo, baby. It's Jazz Fest this weekend, getting rained out a little bit, but Jazz Fest this weekend, weekend 2. There you go. New Louisiana logs from Florida. I tell you, I got Florida stations coming out of my ears over here in Louisiana. So you should have a good shot at quite a bit of our stuff heading your way over here across the pond. It actually is more of a pond than anything. The Gulf of Mexico. It's so shallow, right? Coming up next, we got our friend Rick, Mr. Drummer, in the chat. Rick up in Nebraska, just 2 new AM loggings to report since April 15th, and both were heard this morning during Gray Line DX for the first day of May. The first one, however, was not Gray Line. That was 1430 KMES in Ogden, Utah. Heard at 541 CDT for Utah logging number 12 here. The second was Gray Line. That was 1340 KASI, I think. 1340 KESI Ames, Iowa at 0606 CDT, rather, just 6 minutes after they went to their day power for the day. That was Iowa logging number 71 from here. I finished the season with exactly 50 new loggings since last Labor Day weekend, bringing my totals on AM here to 1,076 domestics and 1,128 overall. The highlight of the season has had to be KXSP 590 going silent here, getting new stations in Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Texas, Cuba, and Mexico in its absence on FM. I heard 3 new loggings here since last Labor Day, 2 E-skip loggings from New York, WMMH 96.7 in Clifton Park, and Vermont, WXXX 95.5 in Burlington. Both of those were on January 6th, which was a big E-skip day for lots of folks in the hobby. I also get Meteor Scatter here on March 6th to be NKT 107.5 Eastover, South Carolina. Total heard on FM is now at 508 stations. Man, well done, my friend. Lots of new logs in there for you. I'm giving you the 1,000 log shout out for 1,000, not just logs, domestic. There you go. 1,000 stations in the U.S., just U.S., for our friend Rick up in Omaha, Nebraska. That was a really cool moment when you had that happen this year, man. I really enjoyed that. So well done. That's the shout out I give you this year. Walter in Georgia. Man, Walter's got some new logs in here to 1420 AOC St. Augustine. 206 miles. 1420 WKWN in Trenton, Georgia at 239 miles. 1430 BLR Batesburg, South Carolina at 220 miles. 1430 TMN in Gainesville, Florida at 175 miles. 1430 Lakeland, Florida, WLKF at 279 miles rather. 1440 WGVL in Greenville, South Carolina at a radius of 247 miles. 1410 WKKP in McDonough, Georgia at 127 miles, and 1480 WPFJ in Franklin, North Carolina, 252 miles from Georgia. For you, my friend, we give you the log shout out. You're kind of like John, man, coming in here consistently, week in, week out. You get those logs in, you're getting new stuff in the log book, and you're really, really great. One of the things I really like about your logs is you're always doing a really, really good job at just chipping away at all that stuff that's kind of like regional around the area that a lot of people forget about, because it's easy for us to get caught up in the exotic stuff, right? It's easy for me to say, I want to get the stuff that's out new state out west or something up in the Northeast or whatever. But it takes patience and persistence to chip away at all those stations that are right there in that immediate radius, 200, 300, 400, 500 miles around your location. You do a really, really good job at that, man. I really enjoy your logs when you check in each week. So well done, my friend. Walter in Georgia. The greatest accomplishment of season 6 was picking up stations as far as north as Ohio. Actually, so this is okay. You got another shout out here for Walter as well. Picking up stations as far north as Ohio, including 1390 WNIO in Youngstown, 1480 WHBC in Canton. I was also able to pick up 1280 WSJAY out of Mullen, South Carolina, 1390 WYXI Wixie from Athens, Tennessee during the season. I remember that station when I was up in North Carolina. So well done, my friend. Again, really appreciate you being there week in, week out. Always consistent coming in with your good logs. So really appreciate that. And our last shout out of the season from the audience will go to our friend Sean Kutsko. Seems appropriate. Sean is always checking in with some fantastic logs. So good to kind of round out the shout outs here with our friend Sean. A fun season despite some significant technical challenges, which will always just wear you down, right? And rebuilding of the station this year with the loss of my log file last fall. I also lost all of my database queries, so I don't have all the fancy stats a lot of us have. Part of my summer work will be to get the queries back up and running. General stats, 217 new stations logged, and now sitting at 1,278 unique logs from his location in Illinois, in Champaign, Illinois. 47 states logged, heard to be PXE in New Hampshire this season. My last state in the lower 48 is now Delaware. So that's all he's got left, y'all. Last one in the 48 is Delaware. Now at 19 countries heard. Best DX of the season was 2 stations in Algeria, March 14th at around 5,000 miles. I also started listing for stations from the Pacific, and thanks to Tim Trump's guidance, while I haven't actually heard any audio yet, I have seen carriers from Australia, New Zealand, the Marshall Islands, and Tonga. I'm hopeful I will get audio from them next season. But of course, the best stuff that happened this season was the continued friendship of the group. That beats the best log every day. Absolutely. Thanks to everybody for being a great part of this community and seeing the Slack channel all summer long. We have another shout out that just checked in as well. So we'll get to David, our friend David up in Maine as well. Get to you here in a second, so don't go anywhere. But for our friend Sean, for you, my friend, I'm giving you this one because you have the state shout out. You've done such a good job at just going tenaciously after these states. The New Hampshire, the Oregon, the Idaho, up in Washington, right? Going after these states, you've done a really, really great job at just tackling that, man. Now you're down to one left in the lower 48, Delaware, and you're going to get that one. I know you are. I know that WDEL or one of those stations is in. I think there's one up in the 14s, isn't it? That maybe in Salem or something like that. That's in your future. I can just feel it. So we're going to be celebrating you, hopefully in this between now and this next season or this next season. Getting that last one in the lower 48 off the checklist and opening up the opportunity for you to maybe get something else up in Alaska, Hawaii. Awesome, my friend. Well done, and appreciate you as well being part of the DX family here. David Pete up in Maine checking in here for our last one here. While I haven't gotten to do much DXing over the past 2.5 months, the season as a whole was way beyond my expectations. I managed to reach all of my main goals and get logs beyond what I dreamed about. Added 2 new states, Utah and South Dakota, to bring my total to 45. 13 new countries to bring my total to 40. San Andres, Nicaragua, Peru, Guatemala, Panama, Paraguay, Egypt, Iran, Morocco, South Africa, Ukraine, Canary Islands, and finally the one that has haunted me for the last couple of years, Brazil. Finally, I have a clip that I never shared from the solar event last November. One of my recordings during a time when the band was almost dead, I found this gem. Ponce, Puerto Rico, 1490 DEP. 1490, Graveyard, Puerto Rico. At 1,867 miles, it beat my prior graveyard distance record by more than 900 miles. Let's listen to this one. Wow. Wow. Puerto Rico on a graveyard. Because I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, they also abide by the 1 kilowatt rule in Puerto Rico because they're a U.S. station. Regardless, getting through that mass of other 1 kilowatt stations and hearing Puerto Rico at almost 2,000 miles. Yeah. So with all your country work, man, we have absolutely got to stamp your passport. So we've got to get that. I mean, that's an impressive list. 40 countries from the state of Maine. 40 countries. And some of those, man, like South Africa, when you got that one in the log, that was like, oh man, that's freaking impressive. And I remember when you were checking off, Paraguay, Panama, Guatemala, Peru, Nicaragua, when you were getting all those kind of in a row, and we had a couple of those solar events that were getting us some nice southerly stuff, and you were just knocking them out. That was really impressive to watch, man. So there you go. Absolutely well done. And really, glad to have you in there as well, my friend. So thank you for being part of the fun. There are two more shout outs we didn't get in this session. I guess one I could do because we did have earlier. We had some Wisconsin logs, so I can go ahead and do that one now. I know Rick's really good at some Wisconsin. Stuart's really good at Wisconsin up there in Michigan. Jacob is always getting stuff from Wisconsin over there in Minnesota. So we'll do some good shout out stuff in there for you as well. And of course, we can't end season 6 without at least doing it one last time. And I'm going to do this shout out. I'll do it for myself. This will be my shout out for the year, for the season recap. We had a great season here. We got Uruguay in the logbook. We got Paraguay in the logbook on AM. Those were my highlights. Okay. For me on AM, it was Paraguay and Uruguay. Getting those two finally in the logbook, that was huge. Okay. That was really big for this year. On the FM side, that's where I'll say the ones that had eluded me was Manitoba. Okay. I didn't hear anything new states this year. Got a lot of new stuff, a lot of new logs, no new states, but we did get Manitoba. And that was one that I just could not figure out because I was getting a lot of deep into Minnesota, way up there, but I hadn't had anything from Manitoba pop in yet. And we finally crossed that border. We got a handful of stations down to Manitoba. So, my friends, we have to let the moose loose. There you go. I had to do it. Had to have the moose loose one last time before we wrapped up the season. And that was a good way to do it because, that was my big accomplishment on FM this year. We had a lot of cool openings, a lot of big numbers as far as log counts. We did get, I'm sorry, I did forget. The really big thing on FM this year was Cuba, was getting Cuba and Jamaica and Cayman Islands and Honduras. So 4 new countries on FM. That was nice. Cuba was the big one, though. That was the one that I was just like bound and freaking determined that I was going to get in the logbook. This year it's Belize. Belize is the number one goal for me for FM this year. If I can get Belize in the logbook, I'll feel like I no matter what else happens this Sporadic Es season, I got what I was trying to do. So, all right, let's talk about the summer protocol. Obviously, you can find those of you in the Slack channel. You can find me there. I'll be pretty active in there. Maybe not for the next couple of days as we tear down Studio A, but and then rebuild it. But we will be around. Some ways that you can keep up with what we're doing. We have our challenge website, dxchallenges.com. I will be putting the link here on dxchallenges.com for the Summer of DX. So if you don't remember the Summer of DX challenge, we will have the link for that here for the current challenge that we'll be linking out. So you can get to the Summer of DX from here, from dxchallenges.com. If you're used to going to that website, we'll put that link there so you can always get to that. But summerofdx.com, super easy to remember. fmdxdata.com, that's the SEDAP dashboard if you want to go check that out. If you want to use our online receivers and hear what we're hearing when we get some of those openings, knock on wood, livedxing.com, that's where you can go and use our assortment of online receivers. Again, over the next couple of days, a couple of these will be offline, but we will be having those up and running. Our auto loggers, the Shortwave Central one will not be going anywhere. That's going to be up and running the entire time this summer, hopefully. So this one here will always be available. This one, the headless one, should always be available as well, unless we have storms. And then this one right here, the original, the log periodic one, that will be the one that I'll be taking down here for a couple of days as we do our renos. Same thing with our DX Central Kiwi, that will also be coming down, but the Shortwave Central Kiwi is up, so you can use that. Again, livedxing.com, that's where you want to go for those online tuners. This is probably dxradio.com. That is the website you want to go to get listen in to DX Radio. I recommend you do that because we'll be putting in announcements there as we go along for the course of the season. If we make any changes to the Summer of DX challenges, we'll be putting them there on announcements on DX Radio. And then we'll also be putting up, obviously, again, our code word for the bounty hunts will be on DX Radio. So remember that, top of every hour. That's where you can find those. So this is probably dxradio.com. Bookmark that sucker so you can tune in and listen in. Last thing we'll take a look at, let's just do a really quick glance at Season 5 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. And I'm doing this because next year, my plan is to change things up a little bit and how we do the challenges. The Medium Wave Frequency Challenge, as you know it, probably going away. As far as like just the pure nothing but AM focus and the way that we've done things in the past, that's probably going to go away. And we're going to be doing something different. I don't want to talk a lot about it yet because I just haven't done all the math and the planning and everything out and kind of mapping it out. But I'm pretty sure I want to change that up pretty significantly for next season. It'll be season 6 of the challenge, whatever challenge thing we're doing. It'll be season 6 of our challenges. So I want to go big and really change it up. So the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge, as we have known it, probably going to get a big facelift. So looking back at season 5, 7,600 logs submitted. Now this is just for the AM side. 7,655 logs submitted, 2,474 unique stations, 38 different DXers reporting logs. The furthest reception was 8,240 miles. Yowza. 49 different countries, 49 different states, including DC. So the only ones we were missing would have been Alaska and Hawaii. We didn't get those this year. 49 countries, though. My God. My Lord. You guys absolutely rocked it. Another amazing year of the Frequency Challenge. Our total leader for log count, it wasn't even close. It was Greg Caniglio, 1,133 logs this year. So he is now our new top dog from season 5. So we had Barry the last couple years. Our new top dog for this season, Greg Caniglio. Congratulations, my friend. We give you the Horn of Victory. Oh, we're still going to be doing AM challenges. Don't get it twisted. When I say it's going to change, I mean in the way that we've been doing it, where it's like we only ever do AM until we get to the FM stuff at the end of the year. We're going to be mixing it up a little bit. We're going to be mixing it up. So we will be doing some AM challenges for sure. Frequency ranges, themes, that kind of stuff. Like the graveyard challenge isn't going anywhere. That's definitely going to happen again, right? So stuff like that. We'll still be doing stuff like that, but how we do it, and then will we be doing other stuff at the same time? That's what I want to map out a little bit. So, but congratulations, Greg, our top dog for season 5. Well done, my friend. Proud of you. 2,900 mile furthest catch, almost 3,000 miles. Yes, I need to flush out the season, the season analysis a bit, but we have some work to do on that. But yeah, Greg Caniglio, our champion for season 5. Well done, man. All right. It is the summer of DX. It is Sporadic E season. You have AM in the Summer DX Challenge. You've got FM. We've got grid challenges. We've got county challenges. We've got the bounty hunts. We've got the rovers. We've got the NOAA Weather Radio in there this year. We have packed everything that we can think of, at least for right now, that we could fit into it. Everything that we could fit into it this year is in there for this season of our iteration of the Summer DX Challenge. So summerofdx.com, bookmark that site. Go there frequently, go there often. You can bulk upload from FM list, medium wave list, or WLogger. You can do the station list. You can do the manual entry. You have different ways. And it, again, is open to anyone. Whoa. I didn't turn that off, did I? It is open to anyone around the world. So it is not just for USDXers, Canadian, it's anybody around the world. Our down under folks, you can do stuff. Now, I don't, unfortunately, have very good FM station lists for anything outside of the United States. I apologize. In North America, I apologize. You're going to have to do a lot of manual entry if you're doing stuff for FM. But AM, we should have quite a bit there for you as a basis. And then if you're doing any domestic stuff here in the U.S., you got that station list as well. So I highly would love to see. We always do have pretty good representation from the international folks during the Summer DX challenges, especially on AM. That's we've got a lot of country count additions because of the Summer DX challenge. So we'd like to see you guys do more of that this year as well. So good luck to all of you as we sit here and look at Sporadic E season, Tropo season, Meteor Scatter. As we get into that, especially when we get into August. AM, FM, NOAA Weather Radio, all of it. Don't forget about the NOAA Weather Radio, like I did last year. And I missed out some Sporadic E on NOAA Weather Radio. Shame on me for that. For our patrons, you can join them at patreon.com/DX Central. That is the best way to keep track of what we're working on here at DX Central. That'll also be the first place that you'll find out when we're coming back for season 7 for DX Central Live. So patreon.com/DX Central. If you want to keep up with what we're working on, new videos, new podcast stuff, the new season of the live stream, what we're going to do with the challenge next year, any changes or updates to the Summer DX Challenge or whatever, all of that, our patrons will always be the first to know. You guys are going to be the very first to know about anything that happens. So if you want to get clued in, patreon.com/DX Central. Join Studio C. That's how you'll find out. That's my rally point for everybody to have that one place to go. For our sponsors, the National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org, the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org, and the Spectrum Monitor magazine, thespectrummonitor.com. For all of you, you guys have supported us now 6 seasons. We've been doing this. The first couple were a little rough, especially the first one, but we've hit a nice groove here the last couple seasons, and you guys have stuck with us this whole time. We've grown the audience. Love seeing the new people joining in. If you have some DXer friends, tell them to come join us next fall when we do season 7 of DX Central Live here on Friday nights again. We'd love to see your friends become our friends, okay? And let's see, what else am I forgetting? That's it. I think that's it. Well, another season in the books. looking forward to seeing you guys again in the fall. So from all of us here at DX Central, from the Van Horn family, I couldn't do it without my wife, Megan, mom, Gail. These two support and make sure that I stay sane, even when I'm not, because I'm bleary-eyed from late nights of coding apps. They keep me grounded. They keep me sane. So thank them. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next fall right here on DX Central Live. Take care, my friends. Best of DX 73. Good luck this season.
This has been the DX Central from the Static Podcast. If you are interested in sponsoring this podcast, let us know by emailing sponsors@fromthestatic.net. If you have a story to share for our Stories from the Static series, send those to our email address, stories@fromthestatic.net. Be sure to join us for our live DX live stream every Friday night at 23:45 UTC, 18:45 Central Time on our YouTube channel or at dxcentrallive.com.
The DX Central From the Static podcast is copyright 2025, Lloyd Van Horn, DX Central. All rights reserved. No portion of this podcast may be rebroadcast or reused without the express written authorization of Lloyd Van Horn and DX Central. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, as new episodes will be posted regularly. Join us next time for the DX Central From the Static podcast.